Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I'm Bobby, also known as Blazzinbob, and as usual, I'm joined with my partner in crime, Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Bob?
I'm good. I'm fantastic, actually. Thank you for asking. And for the first time on the show, we have it's your boy Solheim. How you doing?
I'm doing really good, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
I like the catchphrase.
Yeah, I mean,
It's your boy Solheim here.
Yep. I try. I mean, I've watched a billion of your videos. I always give you shit though about the bot ones. I'm like, oh no, not another bot one. But I mean, you have a ton of amazing content that I just love. I just love it all. I still watch the bot ones, but whatever.
They do get kind of repetitive at times. It's fair.
I mean, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, you know, you're there reminding people that it's still a problem, which is a good thing, you know?
And I refuse to let people get too complacent about it, because I think that's a big problem in itself.
Yep, and I'm guilty of it. I'm just like, yeah, there's bots, we know, but like, we really should be bitching and moaning about it all the time. So you do that for us, so we don't have to, right?
Yeah.
And also, first time on this show, but not the first time podcasting with, we have, I don't know if anybody listening to this show ever listened to Overwatch podcast, but we have iplaigame from the Omnic Lab podcast. Welcome to the show, iplay.
Thank you. Super excited to be here. Thank you for bringing me out of my podcasting hibernation. I think it's been a minute since the last one that I did. But yeah, we used to podcast together back in the days of Overwatch, and now I've been playing a ton of SoD with you guys. So super excited to be here and to talk about it.
Yeah, and we're super excited to have you. I've been trying to bring on people, you know, that aren't complete experts, you know, like people that are good at the game, but haven't been playing since 2019 or been playing private servers for, you know, a decade, because it really brings up different questions. Oftentimes we won't think to ask. So I thought it'd be really good to have you on, because you've been excelling at SoD, but there's so much about Classic that you're like, oh, that's how that works, you know? And so it's kind of neat to have somebody like that. So thank you for coming.
He's calling you a noob, I think is what I'm hearing here.
No. I am glad to be the new perspective.
There's a difference between a noob and, no, he's definitely not a noob. But we do have a noob on the show, ClassicGho. Welcome to the show. How you doing? If it's not Boomy, he is definitely a noob.
Well, thank you for that awesome introduction. I just wanted to say congratulations on episode 200, Bob. This is a fantastic podcast. Keep it going for another 200, man.
Ooh, it's crazy that it's 200. Yeah, it's nuts. Oh, man. But, okay. I'd like to start off the show by thanking our tank patrons in Croxford, Turtle Whale, and Braxton. I'd like to mention we do the show live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Blazzinbob, BLAZZINBOB. We'd like your help. We're growing pretty fast on our new YouTube channel, but we've moved channels. I know most of you listen audio, but the people that do watch on YouTube, please give us a sub. And the people that listen to audio, I mean, we would take your sub even if you don't use YouTube or not, you know. So please help us out. Get us to 1,000 quick. We've only been around a couple weeks. We're up to 600, so that's good. But help us get that next step. And that's youtube.com/@Warcraft Reloaded. Then Discord server is warcraftreloaded.com/Discord. If you want to get a new rested XP guide for Cataclysm, or you're finally going to do it here in phase 3, the link will be in the description, but you can also go to warcraftreloaded.com/restedxp. Then we're going to start the show off with the comment of the week. Then we're going to do, we got one voicemail this week. Then we're going to do what have we been doing lately. Then we're going to hit the news, guys, and we're going to try to get to as much as possible, but it's possible we don't get through it all. So we're just going to get through what we can and hope that we can get it all. But, we want to give everything a fair shake. And so maybe we'll talk about other stuff we didn't hit on next week. But that's going to be the show. Go. Do you want to read the comment of the week? Because it kind of has to do with your boy.
Yeah, my boy Scotty got a little feedback here from Budani. They said, I can't wait for a couple of years when Scotty is trying to sell us on Warlords of Draenor. And I think we're only a few months away. It's not a couple of years. Yeah. Like phase 1 of Kato, like once the raid's cleared, he's gonna be like, oh my god, I can't wait till WoD. That's my favorite expansion.
Pretty much.
100%.
But yeah, he's already talking about MOP, Mr. Pandaria. He's freaking out about MOP coming. So yeah, it's not too far away for WoD.
See, and to come to Scotty's defense a little bit, ever since I've known him, he's been trying to tell me that I will like Kata, that I quit too early back in the day, yada yada. So he's been on that for years. I mean, I met him years and years ago. So he has been on that box for a while, and he's always said MOP is like his pretty much favorite. I don't know Legion and Past or whatever, but I know that he genuinely likes Kata. So it's there are creators probably that are just moving to Kata and trying to sell you on it, but I think Scotty really does love Kata. So
he can't get off the beta right now, for real. The past week, 2 weeks, he's on it like nonstop. He's laying in bed because he's hungover from streaming, and he's playing on his laptop in bed.
Oh my days.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I just thought that was funny because oh man.
To be fair, Cataclysm is kind of good though.
I mean, I'm excited, at least for right now. What I'm excited for is to see the new world. I had two characters I worked from 80 to 85, but never saw the world. So I am excited to level characters. I just don't know. The raids look good. It's possible I'll raid log or something, but gosh, they really increased, or they sped forward on a lot of things that I hate about the game later. Like when I got back from BlizzCon, that Ragnaros mount where you ride a mini Ragnaros was out, I was like,
yeah.
Okay, we've went to the clown shop now. All right, well there goes my Tolkien immersion there, but it doesn't mean the raids aren't good. It doesn't mean it's not fun. It's just that type of stuff takes me out of it. Ugh.
But the Ragnaros mount was also not a Cataclysm thing. That's
Legion.
Capitalizing on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, someone told me that it came in Legion. I was like, why did they bring it forward? No.
Just capitalizing,
Yeah. Well, what can you do? But yeah, all right. Well, the next thing we got is we have one voicemail. And guys, if you want to leave a voicemail, it's 816-866-1066 or go to speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded. So yeah, give us some more of those. We love them, but let's play this one for this week.
Hey, Bob and Mel, this is Rank Boss from Crusader Strike. Just want to get your guys' opinions on maybe something that I've realized that I'm a little bit concerned at going forward. So apparently everybody pretty much knows raid's going to be Sunken Temple. But as far as a new PvP event, the speculation, or at least everything I've heard, people are saying no new PvP event. They're going to update the rewards for STV event. And I would rather blow my own butt cheeks plumb off than keep doing that. I've done it on 2 characters, enough for a mount. I'm leveling up a 3rd character now, and that's the thing I'm dreading the most. It's gotten stale at this point. But maybe they could do some kind of giant rework, but for the STV event, I'm just thinking that just having the only new content being one new raid is really just not going to be enough. I mean, I'd say I'm decently casual, but even this phase, I haven't been bored. But next one, only 10 levels, one raid, just seems kind of like a lack of content. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, so this did come in a day before all the news released, and yeah, we all knew it was going to be Sunken Temple. Data mining showed us that. We guessed it at the start, like, we guessed it at the start of phase 2 when they, we're like, okay, they're doing all the crappy dungeons, gotcha. Okay, Sunken Temple's next. And I don't mean I mean crappy in the sense that like nobody ever does them because they have weird, hard things. Sunken Temple, everybody does, like nobody ever remembers how to do the statue turning and stuff, but people just often don't go out and do it. But it asked about the STV event, and yeah, they're not doing a new one, and there's a lot of people that hate it. I don't actually hate it. Like the lag's gotten better.
Hate it so much.
You hate it? Okay.
I hate it so much, man.
There's a lot.
Done that on 5 characters. I'm so done with this, and doing it again in the next phase. No, thank you. And have you seen the rewards? Like half of them are okay, but half of them are so boring. They're upscaled, and the mage one is like 1 spell power upgrade.
Dude, the mage just got screwed on both ones. It's like rings. Yay. Thanks.
Yeah, and you want to give me 1 spell power?
That's not worth it.
Is that not
that's no thanks?
Wasn't that the ring, the chance on hit proc though? Or is that a different ring?
I think that was a different one.
I think that's from the Nightmare Incursion event.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the Nightmare Incursion. Either the event or the reputation gains from them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the one from STV is like, you get more intellect and more stamina, sure, but like, how's that going to help me really? And I think it was 1 spell power.
Well, I mean, hopefully you don't have to do it to get, hopefully the items, there's stuff comparable across, that like you can do things in different ways. Like,
yeah,
I find it fun, but it depends. Like sometimes I really like it if I'm in Discord with everybody and we're all rezzing at the same time. But if you get into a pug group, lots of them will do like the DBM pull timer, 5 seconds, but they'll do it for like the first 10 minutes and then it'll stop and everybody is just rezzing willy-nilly and trying to keep up with each other and there's no direction.
It gets very chaotic very fast, right?
Yeah. And
it's a very chaotic event, and just in general, everyone running around. I have enjoyed it, but to be fair, I've only done it in 1 character. It didn't take too long to just get the pieces of gear that I needed on that 1 character. Although I didn't get the mount, which I think is the more juicier prize that you might want to get on those characters. But I agree with you, Bob. The times that we went together as a team and we just went in there and kind of coordinated, pretty fun, even if it wasn't as productive in some of them versus others where we did really good. Still enjoyed it, but yeah, I've only done it in 1 character. I could see how repeating it can become quite annoying in multiple ones. I didn't find it as approachable as Ashenvale, which is so easy to just jump in a character, go in there and do it.
Well, then there's also
obviously they shouldn't cater the content to like somebody leveling 5 characters, but it should be more fun. Because they've already touched on like alts being part of the experience. So it should be fun to do like several times.
Well, and you also have to think about it. It depends on what class you're playing and what spec too. I mean, these are very different experiences across the board. Like my hunter is pretty fun, but it's a pain in the ass with the pet. Like I have to go in lone wolf because it only reses half the time. It's really weird. But I think a lot of people expect it to be like a BG. And it's just not. Like, you're never going to stay alive long if you're going for the most coins, if you're going, to the spot where the boss is. Like, you're just going to have to realize, like, the whole point is to rinse, repeat, quick. And when half of your team dies, you die as quick as you can. Like, just run in anywhere, and die as quick as you can so you all rest together. And, like, that's the whole point of it. So it's fun to kind of min-max it, but it's definitely way different than anything we have in the game. I think a lot of people, it turns them off because of that. It's too chaotic.
Well, Bob, as you know, I'm a pretty solo player, and I can only get 100 coins if I'm lucky and turn that into like 1 silver. So I would love to see them somehow lean into adding more coins for somebody like me that goes into the event solo, or somebody that's questing, killing mobs, and getting coins that way.
I agree 100%.
This is called World of Warcraft. It is a team game. Go make friends. Monsters.
I don't want to kill
fun.
People.
Come on.
He's not. I mean, I don't think he's asking for much, though. I mean, if you gave 3 per mob, right, that'd give him 300 coins. If we're doing it well, we can get 1,200 doing PvP. So I mean, it's just a separate option for him, right? Which I don't think could be that bad.
Or if somebody can't get in a group or something.
Yeah.
Or there's a class that nobody wants to invite. Like I don't know. Everybody gets invited now, right? Like who doesn't get invited? Like warlocks. Do warlocks get invited? Maybe like a warlock can't find a group and they're like trying to grind mobs to get their coins.
I think
they're just super stuck behind because they can't kill things fast enough in 30 minutes.
Pugs are the only one that gatekeep. I mean, in Swamp, like, and Swamp's a lot of sweaty people. Like, most of the groups will take you. Like, unless they specifically want to try something new out or something. Like, most of the groups will take you. Like, my rogue gets to go, and rogue is, pretty worthless there. The best way to play rogue, if you guys do it, is just guard healer. Stay stealth until someone comes at your healer, and then just pop out and kill them, because you get the coins for your ranged hitting people. So you can really survive a lot longer doing that.
To see this strategy in action when I'm a healer and you're a rogue.
You are so full of it.
You really pump this strategy, and yet I die a lot on my healer while you're 20 feet away chasing somebody down.
We did do that strategy once with you. It was kind of fun. I don't know if it was fun for you, but we were all stealthed and you were the bait in the middle, just attracting people.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think there was 3 rogues and a druid and me, and everybody goes stealth, and I'm just standing there
rogues,
all by
2
myself.
druids. Yeah, 2 rogues,
and
2
I'm
boobies.
Like, that's cool. Yep. And I think I'm pretty sure I still died, but it's fine.
Well, I don't know. Go. That's not bad. Like a revamp, I could say even like you have 3 bosses and they're at 3 different temples, so it's not so chaotic in one spot. Maybe, but maybe just throw the PvEers or the people. Sometimes I skip the event because I'm like, dude, I just don't feel like talking to anybody right now. Like I just got on. I haven't loosened up yet. I just want to like do it, but this is the only time I could do it. If I'm going to miss it, if I don't go, I'd be happy with like a 300 coin, farming some mobs, making some, gold. Like I think that's a good idea.
So here's the question though. Would you rather have to farm Arathi Basin or Altaric Valley for hours upon hours upon hours instead of STV?
AV.
AV is a little bit more chill for me because, I mean, it depends on the character I'm playing. Like when I played Warrior, AV was always really chaotic, and I was basically trying to tank every time, trying to get to the end every time. But on my Rogue, I loved it.
Ashenvale. Like it's mainly PvE. Like AV is like a PvE
kind
with
of
a lot of people in the same area that you can kill. But
like for my Rogue was the most fun because I would go to the first towers that we grab, and I would literally guard, and I would sit there and listen to a podcast or watch a show, but I would always be there ready. And then as soon as somebody came close, as soon as spy went off, I was like, okay, game time. And then now I'm actually stopping them, and you can on Rogue you can stop people forever.
Let's be clear. You just wanted to AFK at the first tower.
I prefer to fight. I just do what my class is best at. That's why with Warrior, I go straight to the end, try to tank at the end. Like, because a tank is huge for the win. I do, the best I can for the character that I'm on. And Rogue is great at, somebody has to defend. Like, and most of the people defending are actually AFK. So I've got to be there to, one, report them and actually defend the tower.
I don't know how this triggered this other thought for the STV event, but whatever Mel said about AB, it clicked. And what if you could turn in AB tokens for the STV coins? Kind of like reverse the way that you can turn coins in for honor. and
or
AD
turn in
rep.
the marks.
Like as long
turn
as
in
you're
the
doing
marks,
a PvP activity, you could swap it for the coins, the STV coins.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could include.
'cause you
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, turn in like marks of Arathi and Warzone marks, and get coins instead of rep.
Which would even be cooler after people like are hitting Exalted in Warsong. It'd give them a good reason to go do Warsong.
Keep doing it.
A lot of people love Warsong.
Yeah, I wouldn't dislike that. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
They would have to like wipe your current tokens or somehow make a new token for the next phase, so you can pre-stack 20 and then immediately turn those in for coins for gear right off the bat. So yeah, there'd have to be some more thought into it. Just I thought it would be a neat idea somehow if they could implement that.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
My ultimate copium for phase 3, like I was hoping for something else than the Strangleton event, and I had like this picture in my mind of all the Hillsbad Foothills event of like a team deathmatch. It's like Alterac Valley, but no PvE. So we have 10 layers, right? So you just jump onto your layer wherever you are, and it's alliances versus horde, and whoever has the most kills at the end, like after 30 minutes, they win. Then you have like massive horde versus alliance team deathmatch.
I like
in Hillsbad. That was my hope for phase 3.
I mean,
instead we get STV version 2.
That was literally what we did in the when the honor system first came out in 2005. That's what we did. The Battle of Terran Mill, and we just went back and forth. Although the only thing that sucks about that is it always screws over melee characters on those big, huge battles. Like that's what I've always found.
Another thing that would suck about that event in the current meta we currently have, basically, is that people would turn layer 1 into the horde layer and layer 2 into the alliance layer and so on, just to guarantee the win. But the idea is cool, but people would find a way to get fun out of it.
You're right. You're right.
That's why we can have nice things, you know?
Yep.
Ruin it.
And I haven't done STV in a while. Has the layering and lag improved a little bit, or is still fairly bad?
So I hadn't dealt with lag for Thursday and Wednesday, and I did the primetime ones. But we did have the one primetime, the main primetime one, the 9 o'clock hour on Crusader Strike US last night. We weren't even taking it, we were pre-questing, killing Mock and the gorillas and the pirates over there, but during the event, and it was laggy, but it was a Friday night, and then we did the next one, and it wasn't laggy, so it's gotten way better, but it's still, there's times it just gets too much.
Yeah, and I imagine the volume of people is a little bit less now in some of them, so probably not as bad lag.
Could be that too.
What about the layering problem we had early in phase 2? Has that gone away now?
I have not had a problem with it once yet. And we were even, the one I did on the 6 o'clock hour yesterday, me and my friend Lubes, you can follow him on Twitch at I am Lubes. Him and I were late. So we got there to Gromgal and it was on the beach. So we had to death run all the way down. So we didn't even really start until 7 minutes after, but we were all on the same layer and we got invited, basically running out of Orgrimmar as the event was starting. So, I mean, I have not seen it yet. I haven't seen it in weeks now, but that's not to say that it's not there, right?
Yeah, I could, but at least it maybe indicates that there's less problems with it now than there was in the past. We had it all the time where I would make I have 5-man pre-made, and we would scatter in 5 different layers when entering. All the time early in phase 2.
We started grouping up 30 minutes early to fix it, and it still was doing that. It's what the heck, man?
Yeah, then that kind of killed the event for me early on because it lasted too many weeks of that problem, and it just got to be too much. And I was like, it's not even worth it. And then, am I gonna go up to this event and hope that it's fixed every single time? And so it took me a while to come back. I didn't come back until a week ago or so when I went with you, Bob.
Yeah,
that was the first time for a month since I had done the STD event.
But
it felt great.
How many coins did we get? Because you were like, oh my god.
800, 850, something
Yeah,
like that.
it wasn't an amazing one, but you were like, this is so different from what I'm used to.
8 times what I normally get. Yeah, that's 8 events. That's how many days? If I would have done the event by myself for 3 days over the weekend, no sleep, then
but you're right.
The same amount of coins.
I mean, that's the whole problem. Once you like burn somebody, like my friend Buck, I have to drag him kicking and screaming because he's like, is it going to be lag this time? I'm like, all right, dude, it's been better. Come on, just come. He's like, okay, but lots of people are going to be like, I'm in the middle of something. I'm not going to travel for 15 minutes just to see and then be stuck there too on top of it, so.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And I think it goes to show like it's about the experience too, right? Because STV offers great rewards. Like you would want to be there every time. Some of the best rewards in the game at the moment. But if it's not going to be enjoyable, if it's going to be a lag fest, a lot of people are just going to choose to just go somewhere else. Or maybe just do it a couple times, get what they need, and never come back.
That's like Winter Grasp and Wrath of the Lich King Classic. I had such fond memories of that event, and then it was just a lag fest throughout all of Wrath. And it was the very first like PTR sesh before it even went live with like play Winter Grasp with the devs, and it was so laggy. And then I was like, oh well, they've done their lag test. It's going to be fine on launch. It was the same thing. I was like, man. So I barely did Winter Grasp.
Yeah, my fond memories were wrong. It's just what it turned out. Oh man, yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel the main reason they didn't make another one is because of all these problems, and they're trying to give PvE people more things to do. I think they pivoted. This stage around, I think they might have been planning to have a different PvP event, but then they're like listening to a lot of the the people that really want PvE. There's a ton of people that really want PvE stuff. So I think that's why we just are stuck with this one. But I like it, so I hope my friends keep liking it, so I can go with them and not pugs. And that's basically where I'm at.
Well, with the roadmap, it specifically didn't list a new PvP event on that map on the little banner, whereas it did for phase 2. So that's why this whole time I was not expecting a new PvP event. I wasn't expecting them to double down on STV though. So at least they're continuing one PvP event, but yeah, I wasn't expecting.
Yeah,
Goes the only one that
I do like that you can continue to do, and I do like that it'll become obsolete once you go into the next phase, right? Like if you still want to go to Ashenvale to get your 1,000 weekly rep, which is useful, right? Still saves you a lot of time from doing Warsong Gulch. Still can. It's very easy. I think it's cool. You can still go to STV and do that event, because if not, the events would feel too flimsy, right? Like, oh, it's only for the phase. We don't do them anymore. They might even put less effort into spending time on them, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I want more people to play BGs, so it has slowed the BG traffic quite a bit.
Sure.
That's a bit of a bummer for me, but I was wondered, like, why can you just go right up to Exalted with the coins, but you can only get to Revered with the Ashenvale event? It was like, I want to get those people in. AB, baby. All right, well, what's everybody been up to? We just started go around. Go. What have you been up to?
The Cataclysm beta for the past 2 weeks. I went on holiday when it launched, and I didn't get the first wave of invites anyway, so it didn't matter. I got home, I got my invite that first wave after it had been open for like a week, and that's where I've been. I leveled up to 74 on a troll druid, 1 to 74, and then they just opened up 80 to 85 a couple days ago, so I've been leveling up a template druid because I wasn't going to finish my grind when I could just create a brand new character at level 80. So I got to 84 earlier today. I've got a little bit to go to get to 85, and that's where I've been living. I haven't logged on SoD that much. I did ICC last week and Ruby Sanctum, so I'm still raiding on Wrath, but not in a guild or anything. I'm in that Kata waiting room on Wrath, but It's been fun doing those things. SoD, I haven't really been playing that much though, but I am excited for Phase 3. It's not that I'm not gonna play it. I'm gonna be there on launch day. I'm gonna level up to 50. I'm gonna get into Sunken Temple, but I'm just looking forward to PvP and SoD.
Well, hopefully, I'm hoping to get a PvP group going tonight.
Yeah, I'd be down.
What about you, iPlay?
I have been mostly just doing the raids in SoD. At this point, I think everybody has them on, on a weekly lockdown a couple times, going in there, doing it really quickly. We have that group that we do it with you guys later at night, which has been super smooth. We just go in there, kill every boss out in, less than 40 minutes. And aside from that, just trying to make a little bit of gold. I've been doing some fishing with my druid, something really easy that I can put on some Netflix in the other monitor and just AFK farm basically. Yeah.
Netflix and Reel, I got you.
Netflix and Reel, you got it. Yeah, try to make it a little bit of money because for Phase 2, I was so broke when the phase started. Just barely made enough for my mount, and then back to 0 gold, just completely destitute for the first month or two.
It was like a never ending, like just always broke for me too. It was just like, yeah, you're just never gonna have money, so that's fine. What do you need money for?
I planned on the mounts being way cheaper, so like I should have been sitting in a good spot with my 350 400 gold, but it turned out I had to buy 3 mounts and a mount for my wife. Did I buy you 2 mounts? I think I bought your second mount when it was cheaper though. Yeah,
it's the wife tax.
Yeah,
I think I contributed a little bit.
You might have, but yeah. Well, the only reason that I had that gold was because of Solheim. So, Solheim, what have you been up
to? For me, I've been playing a little bit of the Cataclysm beta, just like Go, but I think he's been playing way more than me. And I've been focusing a lot on seasonal discovery, mostly Phase 3 prep, making gold, and also making sure that I do enough pre-quests and try to think about like what to play. I'm also leading a guild, so I'm trying to make sure we have what we need for the roster for Phase 3.
How is that?
And next phase is going to be interesting with 20-man rosters now.
Yeah.
Most guilds are going to have to adapt somehow.
Yeah, it's looking, it's like a little bit tough. You either need people to swap out what they're maining, because like we had, for example, 4 main tanks previously to have 2 raids going. And now if we're going to have 1 raid, we suddenly need like 2 tanks and maybe an off tank. That's going to be like a DPS who can flex into a tank role.
Yeah, you're running a guild, man. Like I run 2 raid groups and it stresses me out, but you running a guild is rough because you do have to ask people to change. Like luckily Swamp is so big and so many raid leaders. We're like working on, some of the raid leaders that only run 1 group are kind of looking to like merge with another group. And then like mine, and we're just going to merge the 2, but we're going to need more people because there's multiple people that play both raids on different tunes, but being able to mix and match with a lot of with a big pool of characters is going to help us out a ton. But man, doing your own guild, like that sucks because always somebody's going to be left out, and it's just a bummer. It's tough.
It's a little bit tough to like make the puzzle go up sometimes, but I think we're missing 2 players right now, like 1 feral druid, which can be difficult to find, and 1 healer. But for the most part, we've gotten 18 out of 20 confirmed, so we're looking okay.
Nice.
Then I'm obviously focusing most on the gold making, because like that's what I find to be enjoyable outside of raids. I'm leveling a bunch of characters, making gold, and I've moved like away from farming to just playing the auction house, which has been a really interesting learning curve.
But boy, you can make money so fast.
You can make insane gold. Like I started brand new on a new server 3 weeks ago, and I'm up to 500 gold right now.
What?
Yeah, starting with nothing and just leveling, making 5 gold, and then just flipping all the way.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts. I've actually...
It's just like get to level 10, spend an hour farming small eggs, turn that into herb-baked eggs, sell those, then you have your first 5 gold. And then you just start flipping.
Yep.
That's crazy.
What's funny is I've moved more to farming because I'm loving my hunter. I never liked farming before. Well, I never liked it before because I was always rogue or warrior. and like
makes sense that
not very fun. Yeah. But with the hunter, it's been awesome. And so I've been doing that more. And yeah, but I used to flip a lot. I mean, I still flip stuff too, but I haven't done as much in phase 2. Phase 1, I just had a lot of insider information from a lot of people, and phase 2, I have not.
Some of the flips are just like so brain dead easy as well. Like, for example, the rock scale cod is like a fish item used in a waylaid supply. You get them from a vendor for 1.8 silver each, and when phase 2 got confirmed that was in a waylaid supply, I sold them for 50 silver on the auction house.
Oh my god.
Like a 50 times markup price.
I do try to do that every once in a while, especially if I'm in Thunderbluff, where the Regents vendor is right next to the auction house vendor. I'll check for like the blue dyes or any of those like silly crafting materials that you would think like nobody would buy that in the auction house. But you'd be wrong. There's a lot of people buy a lot of blue dyes on the auction house, and you can mark that thing up for like 3 or 4 times the price.
That's crazy.
People see something and they're like, they don't even really. Dude, it was hilarious. My friend Buck, who came back to the game, he was on the show a few weeks ago. He told me that he didn't have his poisons worked up because I was trying to figure out why his deadly poison and poisons weren't hitting as much as mine when we were the same level and he was using deadly brew. We found out that it scales based on your poison skill. So he'd never worked up poisons. He'd always bought them from the auction house.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I was like, so I started making poisons and putting them on the auction house, and they sell. They sell for like double, sometimes 4 times the price that it takes to like make them. It's hilarious.
Yeah. And my theory is like you're just paying for convenience, right? These are people that have been farming gold. They have a ton of it. If I'm in Orgrimmar and I'm at the auction house and just want to craft a few things and the blue dye vendors on the other side of the city, I might just buy it from the auction house, right?
True.
I think that's what happens a lot of the time.
Yeah, true.
It's like if you're like, for example, when I'm crafting certain items, I'm making about 100 gold per hour. That means that I'm making 1.5 gold per minute, give or take. So if I can spend 10 extra silver at the auction house and not spend a minute walking, of course I'm going to do that. Everyone wins.
Yep. Yeah, it's neat how those things work. Mel, are you there? I think Mel's AFK. Well, what have I been doing? I haven't done the Cataclysm beta yet. I want to check it out, but I've just kind of waited to see if any of my buddies invite me to an actual raid run. Like if I could copy or have a template like 85, like that's what I'm down to jump in for. But I've been doing like a bunch of PvP. I've been doing a bunch of the STV event. We did a PvP group last Saturday. And I told you when they were making the PvP changes, I was like, it's the same changes they made in TBC. And all we're going to do is take 2 groups, queue them at the same time and get in the same thing. Well, we tried it, and of course, it worked perfect. I mean, we didn't even have it mess up once. You know, even in TBC when they did it, there was also you could go up against Horde or Alliance. Like it could flip you, and you'd have a mask. Like you'd be Alliance, but you'd actually be Horde for that match, right? So every once in a while, when we Q2, we'd actually be on opposite sides, which was always kind of fun because we get to fight our own friends. But like. It works perfect. Like, I think we had one time we all had to drop queue and re-queue to get into a game together. Now, we weren't doing Warsong, though. We were doing Arathi Basin. So, Warsong might be harder when you're trying to get 2 groups in, but yeah, but it was fun. We had a good time. We didn't lose like the whole weekend. It was crazy. So,
it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And you've been doing a lot of the pre-questing too as well, right? Did you finish it in any of your tunes?
I've been doing, I haven't been doing it crazy like I did before. Like, before the reason we did it is because we had a month. Like, the month thing came out, we're like, oh, okay, we got plenty of time to pre-quest. So there's plenty of time to do it. And this time around, you're also running into there's a lot of quests that you would have no clue that you would do back in Elwyn Forest. This is an example. I'm not giving any specific, but this one quest you might have skipped. That quest you skipped actually opens up 3 quests at level 40 that you didn't know about. Like and so what we found with like doing these pre-quests, you want to do them with a group because they're really hard quests. like you're getting the hardest quests. And it turns out half the people don't have the prereqs to get these certain quests. So what we've been doing is we've just been getting on. We look at the biggest quests that we can see. Are like, all right, we're doing with 4 people tonight. All right, guys, the 3 of you, do you have this quest? They're like, yeah, all right. We're going to go there and do that. You know, we've just been doing that. We've just been completing big quests, but possibly not the best quests. We do have a list of some of the best quests from Oldie, Black Smoke, and Jordy, but we're watching out for those, but we're not going crazy on it. And we're not saving all the items like we did the last time that start quests, you know, and we're not going crazy. We're probably just gonna turn in the quests and then basically hit either Scarlet Monastery or Ultimate Quest Run, and then just try to get into Zul'Farrak. I think Solheim said Zul'Farrak should be good as soon as you're level 44. So I think that'll be pretty fast. So I think that's our plan. And it's good. It's going to help gear you up too. So
yeah. And I don't think, like you said, it's not going to be as necessary as last time with the new experience boost. Are we all getting like 50% flat now? And last phase,
huge.
Like with my druid, I didn't do any of the pre-questing. And just with Scarlet Monastery, I was still able to get to level 40 fairly quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I feel like last phase, I mean, Nomer is pretty easy now for us, but I felt like we had been doing, I can't even remember what it's called.
BFD?
Thanks. We had been doing BFD for so long. We were just like, I want to do something else in the game, right? So like pre-questing was more of like a fun like time filler for us, more so than it was like a necessity that we were trying to race to get to level 40.
Exactly. Right? It was fun. Yeah. It was really fun.
Yeah, like we had a fun group and we'd all go out and we'd all, you know, do some quests together and stuff. And I love questing, so that was fun for me.
Same.
But yeah, so I feel like it was just a lot of fun. And now it's like, it feels rushed. So it feels like not as much fun, right? Like I still enjoy the questing, but like we spent 3 hours, like we were in STV when the STV event started. And then we were in STV when the next event started still. And I was like, oh my God, we've been in STV for a long time. But we had a lot of PvP there too. So, you know, trying to keep 3 rogues and a mage from not attacking every single person we pass is like the most horrible job in the world. Yeah. I'm like, I look at the map and I'm like, where are you going? And they're like, I saw a mage running down this way. And I'm like, okay, well, they are gone. You need to let them go.
We had some, I didn't even think to mention that. Last night, we had some epic PvP matches. Like we had one time where our 5-man group took out 2 other 5-man groups. Now there were 2 pug horde that like showed up helping us, but it was literally like 10 on 7. And we didn't even know the other 2. And we're just, I mean, Casimo's also a really good PvPer and he's a mage. So there's a little bit of a carry there, but I'm pretty decent. Like it's very rare that 1-on-1 I get beat in the open world. But
you know what the strategy
I'm probably like in the 80th percentile.
Protect Mel. Because Mel died the most. It was definitely not a strategy.
Mel did always. They always were able to get Mel, but I mean, to be fair, I was going back and killing their healer too. You know, so I couldn't really protect you at that juncture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Will you be able to just Petri in phase 3, Mel, and you just get aggro from everybody, like all the alliance? You just Petri and stand there.
Listen, I have dispersion. Like, so like I do, like I'll come and there'll be like 2 people on me and they're like studying me and all this stuff. And then I'll dispersion at like very little health. And I'm like, you guys got to get these guys before this like really short time is up. And then I die. They're like, yeah, we've almost got their healer down. And I'm like, that's great.
I'm telling you guys, most people do quests and stuff with like 2, maybe 3 people. I have never in my life really ever done, unless you had to for an epic quest, done questing with 5 people. It is best, guys. Like you run into those 2 and 3 people stacks and you just annihilate them PvP wise. And like you're just going through, it's so much fun. Like it's something people forgot. It's an MMO. Like get get some people formed up, get some friends, get some people, and then you're talking, having a good time, doing quests. Like, it's what the game's about, man.
And we did do quests during the Stranglethorn event, during the Blood Moon. We were just doing quests on like the opposite side of where everybody was. But the bonus perk of that is if there was another horde doing the same quest as you and killing your mobs, you could just murder them.
Alliance.
Nice.
Another horde. I got you.
Horde.
Yeah. Well, the other horde, one of the horde we saw was opted out.
Yeah. Okay, that's another thing. Have you guys ever killed somebody that's opted out of the event?
Yeah,
there's no like they don't glow or something. Like you don't even know. You just don't get blood. So like them opting out is like they just can't get killed by their own faction, but nobody else is gonna not kill them, right? Because they have no idea that they're opted out. Like anybody from the opposite faction is just gonna kill them, and then they're gonna be annoyed when they don't get any blood, and they're gonna be like, okay.
Yeah, it was.
They should have like fun. I don't know, something like a dunce hat on or something, right? Like
they should have like a flag from an arena that's on their back, and it's got like a flag,
a little white flag in the back.
It's like I'm scared,
dude. The funniest thing ever. I think we said it on the show, but you guys might not have heard it. Is when me. I think it might have been Go with me. It was me and Simon Eyes and Jordy and a few other people. No, it wasn't Go. I forget who it was, but it was a bunch of us doing Warsong Gulch pre-made. And Simon's on his first warrior, and Simon had looked up. There's a warrior rune where you have a big flag on your back, and you don't lose it until you die. And he was like, "Well, the rune sucks, so I'm just gonna keep having the flag every time we do the BG." So he's running around with 2 flags as the flag carrier. It was freaking hilarious. Just the people were so confused. It was hilarious, man. It was so good.
Oh my god,
that is actually really funny.
It was really funny. Oh man, and he kept like he only died like once during, and he was like, "Hold on, wait, Q. I just need to run to Ratchet real quick." Or no, it was Crossroads. He's like, "I just got to run to Crossroads real quick." It was so funny. It's like, "Don't worry, my hearth is there." He goes and gets it again. Oh, Simon's so fun. He's so fun. Well, is there anything else you've been doing, Mel, you want to talk about? I think I hit on everything I've been really doing.
No, I mean, we've just been pre-questing and raiding, and I finally got enough gold to buy my recipes, and then I realized I bought the enchanting recipe for the weapon, which is 25 gold. And I don't think I need that next phase because I'm pretty sure it's just like against mechanical creatures, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Luckily, I haven't learned it yet, so I think I'm just going to sell it back because I can sell it back for 25 gold. So
look at that. Yeah, that one sucks because like I've been sitting here the whole time like I got these on my weapons. They do nothing for me in PvP. Although it was funny, Kipso looked up all the different mechanical things, and you'd be surprised at some of the ones that are mechanical that you didn't know.
But there's not going to be as many mechanicals and
No, he just
yeah,
he just looked up like around the world. He was like, "Do you know these are mechanical? Do you know these are mechanical?" And it's like, no, that makes no sense. It's like, well, but that's what I found out. It's like, oh, but yeah, that enchant sucked. That enchant, like, don't do that, Blizzard. Like, don't make me have enchants that are PvE only. Like, it just made it hurt.
Yeah.
They could change the bosses. We could see a mechanical dragon in Sunken Temple, and all of a sudden that enchant has some weight in phase 3.
Fair enough.
I don't know. One boss, like nobody's going to get that enchanted on their weapon for one boss.
Oh, parsers will.
Yeah, absolutely.
They will literally do it right before that boss every time.
Yeah, the speedrun meta in SoD.
Nobody in my group is going to do that.
Mechanical dragons in Sunken Temple, though, is the ultimate copium.
Yeah. There's going to be weak ores to equip your weapon with that enchant on it, like before you engage the boss.
Yeah.
That does happen with some pieces of gear, though, in the raid, because it's the same for my druid. I have the machinist gloves that gives you like plus 30 attack power for only mechanical. Yeah. But it sucks because then once I'm inside of the raid, they're not that good, right? I'll just swap them for something like my Void Touch gloves.
Greens.
I've been wearing forever.
Yeah, greens or anything. Like, it's just like, what the hell?
Right.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, it would be. Yes, it would be. Don't put in one mechanical boss, please.
You're gonna be so mad if
Just
there's a
don't
mechanical
do
boss.
it. Don't do it, please. Don't
Good
do
I'm
it.
gonna turn off my
Suggestion, go.
Discord. Yeah, I'm gonna log out of Discord. I'm not logging in the game
Yeah.
for a week.
If that
I'll
does
let that
happen,
heat die
like
down.
the hate mail that will come goes way. Like, yeah.
I would appreciate it after like a month. I'd be like, man, everybody hates me. And then a month later, they're like, fuck them all. You deserve a mechanical boss in there.
Oh, I will say one last thing I did this week. It's not in game, but it has to do with the game. I actually guested on 2 different podcasts this last week. I guested on Cubicle Chat with Scotty J and Go. You can for you audio guys, unfortunately, you can only find it on Scotty J's YouTube, and it's on past live streams, not in the main video section. So that's where you can find that.
About that tonight. I
think there is a playlist, but yeah, unfortunately, you can't find it on audio. But as soon as they get it on audio, I will let you know. But what you can find on audio, the other podcast that I guessed on is Mere Casuals, MERE space Casuals, and a couple of them have been on the show before too. We hang out with them from time to time. They did their first Nomer last night and progged through 4 of 6, which for as casual like as they are, it was really impressive. Like they one-shot the first two bosses, and then they went in, and it was everybody except for one person in the raid's first Nomer. They struggled a bit on Tinker, and then they struggled a bit on the next one, the Lightning Spider, and but they got them both down, and then they had run out of time. But pretty cool for the Mere Casuals, and check me out on their podcast and give them a sub. All right. Well, let's move on to time for the news. Time for the news. Okay. So, first up, Season of Discovery launches April 4th. I just want to talk about the launch date and the 10 days that they gave us for this particular bullet point. So, just to let everybody know, last phase 1 was 10 weeks. They gave us about a month notice before the next phase was coming out. This phase is 8 weeks because it's ending on April 4th. So, do you think it was a good idea to make it, end quicker? And do you think, just what do you think about like them announcing it with 10 days left, like yada, yada, yada? Like, do you think this was the play?
They admitted that they should have given more notice. And the excuse that I heard was it was because Plunderstorm had just dropped. They didn't want to clutter the news feed. And it's like my news feed was still getting cluttered when the phase 3 of SoD announcement was, because there's all this Diablo news coming out. So it's like there's still a lot of stuff. Like, so I didn't really buy that excuse. I would have preferred to have another month's notice that phase 3 was coming. But I like the shorter phase. I like the 8-week phase.
Yeah. I would have liked a little bit more announcement too. Yeah, it was nice for phase 1 when we got the whole month of, hey, you get this month to wrap up everything you want to do. Gives you time to plan, divide your time. With this one, it was more of a, oh shoot, what do I have left? You know what? I don't want to scramble for all that. So there's going to be a lot of things I'm just not going to do coming into phase 3.
On one hand, like, I mostly agree with everything there because I feel the same. Like, I would have loved to have more heads up, but that's from like my ego perspective. I would love to like prep more, have more content to make for phase 2, and just like there's so many things I want to talk about before the next phase. But I also kind of like not having a full month to prep, because the more time I have, the more I will min-max. And the less time I have, the less I'll min-max. So they do me a big
OCD
favor.
starts to kick in.
Yeah.
So they're saving you from yourself.
Yeah, they literally are, and I think I'll be having more fun from it.
I think too, you have to realize too that I do think phase 2 was a little bit harder for people than phase 1, right? Like I think Nomer was harder than BFD. So if they would have told us 3 weeks ago that phase 3 was coming out, how many people would have just kind of stopped trying to get their phase 2 BIS and things like that, like, and just kind of, I don't know, not done as much in the game or maybe done different things in the game. I don't know. I feel like that would have been really hard. It's not like in phase 1 when we still had a month notice, like it was so easy to do BFD that
yeah.
I also think the second they announce phase 3, people stop stressing more. They stress more about like what they need to do instead of thinking of doing what they want to do. So by giving us just a 10-day heads up, people can just focus on playing the game and enjoy the game, and then have 10 days of stress instead of like having a full month of stressing.
I saw a lot of people that I had seen comment on this, and it kind of involves me too, not for this next phase, but it's like, it's nice to have at least a 2-week notice so you can take off work if you want to. So you can
that one's fair. That one's fair.
Because most places require 2 weeks. Some people even 3 to a month, 4 weeks sometimes. And that sucks there's a lot of people being Preach was saying that, his vacation's scheduled for that. He's like, thanks guys, and for me, like it's crazy because I wonder if some people were different. Like for me, I wanted to try Plunderstorm, but I was like, man, I really want to get my PvP stuff done, and I want to like have as much time in this, and I don't know when the phase is going to end, and I wonder if a lot of people were like, well, I got time. The phase is definitely not going to end. Like it's definitely going to be at least 10 weeks. I'm going to go check out Plunderstorm. It could go either way for a lot of different people, but I don't know. I always feel more time notice is just better, and it just works better for everybody in planning and everything else. But it just depends on the type of person you are. Like just like Solheim said, it would make him stress and screw him over, min-maxing everything he possibly could. So there's no way to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna say, especially because I agree with you, Mel. Phase 2 has been harder, especially from the time commitment, right? Like Nomura is a little bit harder than BFD, but the amount of time that phase 2 demands of you versus phase 1 is much bigger. STV takes a lot more time. That Ashen Veil, all the rune quests, honestly, have been fairly long compared to some of the rune quests of phase 1, where you would get like 4 or 5 runes by simply just doing your beginning quest lines, right? They were right there in front of you. With these, you have to go from continent to continent, do a lot of different things. And with my characters, phase 1, I was able to get all runes for my druid, for my warlock, and even got some for a third character, my hunter. Phase 2, I got all the runes for my druid. I only got the necessary runes for my warlock, and the hunter got the shaft. I was like, sorry, bud, you ain't getting no runes this season.
Well, it's something you talk about the time commitment, and there's even more that goes into the time commitment that I don't know a lot of people are talking about. As we keep going forward, the way Classic WoW works is you can have a buff for every stat in the game. And there's some buffs that work on top, even if you have the stat buff. For instance, the Blasted Lands buffs that are coming in. So with all of those new buffs, becomes if you want to actually compete and do well, your time commitment just keeps shooting up higher because more and more prep required for each raid, which is a pretty scary thing, and it's something I don't know how Blizzard could fix it, but it's something they should look into fixing. Like we're talking about, so people are going to be rep stacked, for like Warsong Gulch and Arathi Basin fast, right? This is just there's probably a million ways to do this type of thing, but this is just what I'm thinking of, a way to keep people invested in still doing BGs. Like maybe you have like the actual consumes that people make, the buffs, but you're able to buy them for an Arathi Basin token, and they'd have to maybe change it to be like, I mean, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe you could sell that instead of using it too. Like just different ways to get these different materials, because the buffs are going. The buffs killed Classic WoW 2019 by AQ. The only people still playing were either swiping for their buffs, or they were playing like me, like 8 hours a day. And people, there's no way people are going to, like Season of Dads, people are not going to play 8 hours a day. So I'd really like them to look into some sort of way to get people to consumes, because I could say like maybe you just like take it to where you can't use all the consumes, but that's just going to piss off everybody. Everybody loves all the consumes. So
I was going to kind of go down that route. Not that I agree with that approach, but they've started making more consumes that are only going to be usable in Sunken Temple and the Nightmare Incursion event. So at level 60, they very well could just disable all buffs unless it specifically says on the tooltip that it is usable in Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, Naxxramas, AQ, and they could limit it that way to only having like a flask and potions. And maybe that would help them balance the raids, because they know what consumes are going to be able to be used in there. They're going to know what world buff is going to be able to be used in there.
And the world buffs have been easy right now so far.
Yeah.
We get to 60 and people are going to have to be doing tribute runs for Dire Maul, and you're going to have to get your Dire Maul buffs, even on a fully cleared out one where you pay, to get summoned there and someone's already cleared it. I mean, that's a 20-minute commitment at, like at the lower end to like get there, do that, have your hearth back up to get out. Like I almost feel like it's a seasonal server. Those world buffs should be available once a week via a just NPC. I'm just saying.
Still clear all the content without those buffs, though. That's the thing. Is that
you can easily.
Definitely
doing it to yourself by getting those buffs. Like I never went and got. I mean, granted, I was healer.
You were a healer. But they didn't really need to get most of them. It was really warriors and rogues
to get
screwed.
Those would be to parse, right?
Yeah, to be fair, with the world buffs we have right now, you can get, like, for example, the Sunken Temple buff. You can probably get in a capital city somewhere, and then you just get the Sansa buffs that we're getting in the next phase, and then just skip Dire Maul. Anyone who goes for Dire Maul, you're just doing it for the parse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
then it's just like I don't feel like going out and getting world buffs and all of the blasted lands consumes is bad for parsing. It's only bad if people require it for pugs, and if people start doing that, just make your own.
People are idiots for that stuff.
Yeah, if people require that in pugs, that's just brain dead.
Resist potions, echoes, all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm bringing this out of context. What I did this week. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot to say it. Me, Simonized, Bobka, No Hit Jerome, and Kipso, and some others did an 8 rogue, 1 shaman heal, 1 priest heal, Nomergon, 6 of 6.
Yeah, that was legendary.
Oh my god. We took, they say you can't bring melee. Well, we brought melee, and we brought one of the worst melees in the game right now, 8 of them, and we did it. Like, it was great.
After the 3-hour run, what did you do?
It was only an hour and a half. It was only an hour and a half, and we unfortunately we didn't have world buffs for bosses 3, 4, 5, and 6. We silly thought that we could, with our rogue damage, 8 of them. We had really good rogues. Don't get me wrong, but still. We thought we could kill it the first phase and not have to kill the ads. Well, everybody died. And so we had to do it without. But we wiped on Menagerie once, and then we wiped it was 2 or 3 times on Mechadeer. And then we were able to take him down. I mean, Bobka got a 0 parse because he was doing bombs the entire time and buttons. But I mean, we all had to run dupe buttons, everybody. So we kind of prioed the 4 rogues that were in the Wind Fury group. Like we would go only if we absolutely needed to, which was a few times. I had to hit like 3 buttons, I think, and then. So it was it was cool though. But sorry, I totally forgot to mention that. Damn, that was epic.
So I do like that they've changed the major city that you get the world buff in. It's been kind of neat to like in phase 1 always be in Thunderbluff and in phase 2 always be in Org. Can I plea that we do not have to always be in Undercity for phase 3 though?
I hope you do.
You'll get used to it, Mel. I promise you will. You will get used to it.
Fucking hate
it's the best city.
I didn't play my Alliance Druid in phase 1 because the buff city was Darnassus. I'm not going to Darnassus for a buff.
I thought the same, but like during phase 1, I went from hating Darnassus to thinking this is actually not that bad.
Yeah. Darnassus is not that bad.
The music is good and everything is so centralized. And it's like you have Craftsman Terrace and you have like different quarters for different things. Sense. So it was just everything made sense. It was really good.
The bank's right in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. Undercity doesn't make sense.
Undercity is just dumb. I was being sarcastic.
Undercity is a crazy layout. Yeah.
It's horrible. I do not like it.
Yeah, I see some people having their Hearthstone in Undercity. I don't know how you do that.
There's horrible people. Yeah, you guys are strange, weird people. Like that's so crazy. Like
I pretty high chances that that's gonna happen though. That we're gonna end up in Undercity for the buff.
No. I'm just gonna believe that it's not gonna happen, and
it's
maybe it won't.
Going to because Rend and Ani are going back to Org at level 60. So, bada bing, bada boom.
They are just helping mages make money, so you can portal people all over the place.
Yeah, well, I've seen the new thing now is one mage, two locks, and if they give summons, aka summon and or portal, to all major cities, and then they're like, okay, well, we're gonna bring you to Thunderbluff first, then we'll port you. I was like, oh, smart. It's very smart.
Wow.
Okay.
Service.
The next piece of news that I want to talk about is the Rune Ability Previews. So, everybody, I'm trying to think. I think everybody here has different mains. So let's just talk about the runes for our mains. Go. How do you feel about the Druid runes in the preview? This isn't all of them. I was kind of leaving data mine stuff out.
Well, does iplaigame? Do you play Feral at all? Like, would you have any input on the Gore rune?
I play Feral and then Warlock. That's kind of like the two classes I've been maining.
We can let him talk about Feral, and you can talk about Booby if you want to.
I'll touch on the improved bark skin if he wants to lead off with Gore.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Gore is interesting. I mean, it seems really helpful primarily for tank druids that are maybe struggling a little bit with keeping up the lacerate or doing AoE damage.
I think this. Is that a thing? Do we have any tank druids?
No, they don't. They're very scarce. I think that's part of the reason why they're getting some love with some of these runes in here. And I mean, having a 5% chance to reset your Tiger's Fury is pretty nice for ferals in the raid. I would say not as useful for PvP. This talent is, I would say, mostly for PvE. Maybe you guys have a different idea of it, but it seems like that for me.
Yeah, I heard someone talk about, I think this was the ability someone talked about, that it was on the wrong piece because like there was another rune you would need to use with it. I don't know Druid very well.
Like this one goes in your helm.
Yeah, but there's like I think there's another data mined one or something.
Oh no, it was.
I hope
it was a current one.
Oh, was it?
Wouldn't work with it, and Agrind commented on Twitter about it. I don't really play Feral, so I
didn't understand it either.
Mentioned it, but it was he said that it was like an oversight, that it was when they moved runes around,
lacerate and mangle.
In phase 1 that it was just a little oversight, and they're going to fix it somehow.
Thank you, chat.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Chat's a cheat.
Because that's the thing. As a druid tank, you would love to take mangle. It's a really hard hitting ability. Works great with your berserk, but you have to choose. You have to choose either mangle or lacerate. Yeah, and you would love to use mangle and lacerate together, because then your lacerate is doing more bleed damage, making it even more effective. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that it was an oversight and that maybe you're gonna look into fixing that, because yeah, it makes last raid. I think that's what makes last raid more unusable than anything else.
We don't have helm runes right now, though.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
No.
I was wrong about it being gore. It was about last stage. Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, I will say though, out of all the runes that they've come out with, these two that they're previewing have been the least exciting for me thus far.
I'll say it now. It's okay, guys. For this particular spot here, this is gonna have spoilers. If you don't want them, just fast forward a bit. I'm sorry, but yeah, talk about the runes you like then.
Well, Barkskin to me seems a little overpowered because it's a 15-second duration on a 1-minute cooldown. So if you have more than one druid, if you have 4 druids, for instance, you can have full uptime on your Barkskin.
Oh, holy shit! I didn't even realize it was on allies.
Yeah,
I just read that.
Skin becomes as tough as bark. Physical damage taken is reduced by 20%. While protected, damaging attacks will not cause spellcasting delays in the last 15 seconds.
That's a huge raid cooldown for tanks. Yeah. Like even if you're a cat, like
another thing that cats bring to the table now too, which just makes it more useful.
A boomy, I don't know what the other ones is.
Cast it though. Cats are going to be pissed.
No, the rune allows you to cast while
shapeshifted. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're good.
This is the Helm rune. So since you said spoilers, this is your second warning before I go into another data mined Helm rune for druids here. Is the third rune is Gale Winds, which is an AoE rune. So if it's a boss fight that's single target, as a balanced druid, I'm not going to need that. So I could theoretically get the improved bark skin on my helm and send it to the tank or myself. Probably myself. The tank can worry about themselves. That's the healer's job to keep the tank up, not mine. I'm looking at you, Mel.
I mean, yeah.
But I dug into this rune a little bit further. This rune appears to be one of the only druid rune that I could find that looks like it's going to drop off of a mob. I think it was this one.
Interesting.
Let me double check. Yeah, so there's Idol of the Raging Shambler. And I'm going full spoiler here, Bob. Stop me if you want. Okay, you're muted, but I read lips.
We told him.
Okay, so there's an Idol of the Raging Shambler, and the tooltip says kill 5 enemies with nature damage while affected by Barkskin, then use this idol to learn a new ability. So this doesn't look like it's going to be a very hard rune to get. So I plan on getting it. I don't usually get feral runes.
Glad to hear that.
Defensive runes and stuff. So yeah, this one, it's going to be interesting to see how it's used if it goes live the way it's been data mined.
All right. You're muted, Bob.
Sorry. And iPlay, do you have anything you want to maybe point out about locks or anything?
Let me go down to the lock runes over here.
And while you're looking at that bark skin, you can get at level 44. So it's not going to be one that they said that you can, some of these runes you're going to be able to get early on in your leveling journey. They might have been hinting at Balefire Bolt for mages, but Barkskin in particular, since we were just talking about it, probably going to be level 44, 45.
Yeah. I'm excited for Barkskin. It's a great ability for Druid. It rounds out the kit really nice, and this rune definitely gives it extra utility. For Warlock specifically, I am pretty excited about the Felguard. Having that Felguard is going to be really fun, and I think it's going to be really strong, and likely it's going to become the dedicated pet for most Warlocks out there.
Because you could have it in any spec, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And Pandemic seems pretty good for Affliction, which I think has struggled overall. He hasn't been able to keep up, at least with what Destruction is doing. Destruction has been so powerful the entire Phase 1 and Phase 2. So Pandemic can be interesting for all the Cursed Warlocks out there that might be wanting to do a little bit more damage. I personally like Affliction quite a bit. It's my favorite spec playing Warlock. And especially for PvP, being able to heal yourself and just dot everyone out, it's pretty nice. But yeah, I think both runes look really fun, look really awesome. I am a little sad that Lake of Fire is getting a huge nerf because that was a ton of damage that we were getting. It was really fun just Lake of Firing in the middle of the bosses and going to the top of the charts basically in DPS. No longer the case anymore.
So with Lake of Fire, I have not played Warlock, but I would imagine in a 20-player raid, you would have 2 Warlocks, and one Warlock would be the dedicated Lake of Fire Warlock. And they would have to bite the bullet, sit there, cast their Lake of Fire, and then the other Warlock would be able to pump damage. Does that sound like it might happen, or?
Maybe, but I'll tell you what, I don't want to be that second Warlock.
Yeah,
I don't want to be that second Warlock.
Man. All right, well, Solheim, what do you want to pick like 1 or 2 of your favorite? Because I know you play 5. Like, do you want to pick like your favorites of like maybe? I mean, pick whatever you want. Just tell us.
Yeah, sure. I mean, my first
like
2 level 40s were 2 mages, so I guess I'll do mage because that's technically my main, and it's only my main in phase 3.
Perfect.
I mean, the mage runes to me, I'm not particularly over enthusiastic about for phase 3 based on what we're seeing. PvP is looking good though. Sadly, I don't PvP, especially not on the mage. I mean, I go and do the event, but like the amount of which you PvP, you arcane explosion, you mass heal, and that's it. That's the entire PvP. So for me, PvP is kind of on the mage, but we're getting the deep freeze. That's pretty good. Especially if we're doing 1 versus 1 and in duels, that's going to be absolutely insane. So deep freeze is kind of cool. And I'm also looking forward to Bale Firebolt, but I'm looking forward to it, but at the same time, I'm not really. But it's going to be interesting to use. It's like you get 10% damage increase per stack, and you lose 10% spirit. And on 10 stacks, you die.
I know, I saw that.
When you don't have any more spirit left, you die.
Well, good luck.
It sounds like the Surrender to Madness from a Shadow Priest from back in Legion, but like working in a different way. So I guess the meta would be to use this until you reach 9 stacks, and then let the stacks fall off, and then go back to regular Fire Mage gameplay. It's a little bit hard for me to say, and early for me to say, and I haven't even delved into like any data mining or any theory crafting there or any simming. But mages are looking good though, especially for PvE, and with Deep Freeze, they're looking really good for PvP as well. One of the runes that I personally am looking the most forward to, I think, is the one where you launch a like temporal anomaly, I think it's called. It's basically Frozen Orb. You launch an orb and it does like AoE damage and gives you stacks. That's the one that I'm looking forward to the most, I think. It's looking really cool, and it's going to be useful in different scenarios, both PvE, PvP, and especially farming.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, these runes look amazing for PvP. Like you can see,
they look really good for PvP.
Yeah, you can already see Zaryu salivating over these over here.
I used to play mage all the time too, and Deep Freeze was a fun one because the second half of the tooltip says it's going to deal damage to a target if it's immune to being stunned. So you can use this in PvE as a Frost Mage, and they in phase 1, phase 2, that's been the lowest damage spec in the raids. So I wonder if this is their way to try to tune Frost Mage spec up a little bit.
I don't think it will be doing any DPS, basically.
Okay, yeah, it's probably not worth the GCD then.
Yeah, it's probably worth the GCD, but I don't think it will. It will make Frost Mages go from being the worst, to still being the worst.
They might pass balance druids. That's my worry. Okay.
Yeah. It's a small buff, but it's nowhere near enough, I feel like.
Yeah.
But
it's a 30-second cooldown too. So.
Yeah, it's on a long cooldown. And based on this, the number would be like, what, a 1.2k hit modified by spell power?
Okay.
Sounds decent.
Yeah.
So I'm still not comfortable at all with like giving my thoughts on Hunter because I'm still just learning that class. So I'll just do Rogue.
Why don't you let me do Priest then?
Okay, go ahead.
I have some thoughts.
Okay,
I've got some questions.
You can go.
First of all, the Surge of Light. It's the one that your critical spells cause your next Smite or Flash heal to cast within 15 seconds be an instant cast. Why would you take my quickest heal and make that one instant cast? Like that, like it's my quickest heal and my most mana inefficient heal. So like now I can just cast that instantly. Like this would be very cool if it was a greater heal, right? Or something like that. Like if it made a greater heal instant cast, that would be cool. And that's similar to like what, druids get with their heal that they get to cast instantly. And it's, I think that that's stupid.
I feel like this phase might, even though there's not a new PvP event, all these seem very PvP focused to me, because having an instant cast heal versus a casted heal in PvP is a huge advantage.
Not really. For flash heal's like 1.5 seconds.
It's really fast. Yeah.
Still, I would rather have an instant cast wrath proc than have to cast a wrath and stand still. You can move while you're using your surge of light proc.
True.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, priests have so many other things too, though, right? Like, I can shield, I can renew, I can 1.5 second flash heal. Like, I see this being more useful as like smites, or I guess flash heals for non
also
healers.
They can't kick it if it's instant too.
Yeah, and it's like free movement. You have that whole GCD to be able to reposition, even in a boss fight. It sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, but you're right, for PvE, I don't know like how much. Sorry, I was just gonna say for PvE, I don't know how much more is gonna add, right? Because like you said, you're already standing still. It's really fast to cast. This is useful for PvP. Agreed.
Yeah, maybe. It's silly. It shouldn't be flash heal. It should either be flash heal and make flash heal cost no mana and keep it at the same cost, or be greater heal and make greater heal instant. Like, it making flash heal instant is ridiculously stupid, in my opinion. But whatever.
What heal would you want to be instant cast?
Greater heal.
Just great. Like, how long is that cast? Like 2.5 seconds?
Like a 3-second cast.
3?
Yeah, it's like 3.
Like a 3-second
it's
cast.
It's a huge heal.
Yeah.
If it was free and it did half of the healing, I'd be okay with that.
F that. How much does your druid heal do? How much does your druid heal do when it's instant cast?
It tops me from like 10%. So it does.
Exactly. So get the F out of here. Like,
it's a 12% proc though.
Heal.
How much crit do priests have? Like, how often do you think that you'll see this proc?
Listen, I don't know.
Because I've got like 8% crit.
I think she's probably got around 8 to 10, if I had to guess.
So yeah, you might not even see it that much at level 50 if you chose that for your slot.
Yeah, I would change my BIS though if I if I needed to stack crit.
Oh, you're gonna go for caster crit, like the DPS crit gear. No. Yeah, I agree, Mel. This is a shit rune. We need to scrap it.
It's encroaching on our damage.
Yeah, no.
We already go for damage gear.
But the nice thing is priests are doing great. It's not like they need that much help, right? They're in a fantastic spot in most specs, I would say.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's not like just put priests on the back burner. We can very quickly go down to the bottom of the well. I gotta freaking compete with these druids with their wild growth instant cast everywhere, healing everybody in every group. Like, get out of here.
Well,
like, the only thing that they lose is they run out of mana faster than I do because I have a lot more mana efficiency. But they can top groups. Boomkins can top a freaking group with their wild growth rune. Like, don't give me that. Well, don't say that priests are better.
There's also, there's also it isn't just flash heal, it's smite. So it could be like a DPS thing too. Like, you could throw a smite on someone for a killing blow, while you're healing too. So, or Shadow Priest. Wait, they can cast smite
on the bomb. Like, for instance, in Nomer, it would have been a priest job. You have to save that proc up and then use your instant cast smite to nuke that bomb.
This could be them trying to get the smite spec to work too. The holy smite spec. I don't know.
Oh, we need that in the game though. Like, actually, smite priest. Oh yeah.
I'm not opposed to smite priest. I'm just saying, don't lump in healer flash heal into it. Like, just give us the smite rune. Like,
give me the smite priest from Mist of Pandaria, and I'm rerolling instantly. Oh yeah.
Oh god.
At level 60, if they don't change the world buffs, back to the world buff topic, there's so much spell crit that you can get from world buffs, like Songflower, and I think there's like 3% from Dire Maul.
Dire Maul, I think.
If you
even in phase 3, it's going to be insane with those crits, yeah.
Yeah, if you lose those world buffs though, and then all of a sudden your spell crit just gets nuked by like 15%, then this rune is going to lose a lot of value and it's going to feel really bad.
Yeah, well,
Stan said he thinks it makes a priest more mobile. Can I just combat this? Because priests are very mobile. Priests are very mobile. There is very little time that I have to stand still. Like, it's rare that I cast a greater heal. And when I do, it's because I know I have plenty of time and it's a little bit more mana efficient than whatever else. Everything else I have, shield, palm, penance. Like, penance, I have to stand still for, I don't know, a couple seconds, but I could move if I needed to and it heals them still.
Yeah.
And then renew, like everything I have almost is instant cast. So like there's priest mobility is not a problem.
Yeah, I hate that you guys are so mobile. When I'm trying to chase you down as a boomkin and you guys just run away, I'm like, stop.
Right.
No,
I can like shield, I can
like,
I can dispel, I can fear, I can renew.
Yeah, so I don't want extra movement on priest. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, I'll take it, but I just know it's going to run me out of mana, and I'm not going to want to use it. So,
yeah.
So
that's all. I'm done with my priest rant. Thanks.
No problems.
Well, we got to talk about priest getting another pet. The other rune.
The Eye of the Void.
Rune? Yeah, the Eye of the Void. I guess that was a data mined one. Not
that's a data mined one. Yeah.
Yeah, so priest
that sounds
can have
fabulous.
5 pets? Is that right? Like 3 homunculi?
I get my 3 homunculi, my Shadow Fiend, and now my eye.
And you can run away. Like you can send 5 pets on me as you're running away.
Shield and run away.
Are priests the new hunters?
Right?
Yeah, like priest is like the new summoning class. Warlocks are standing on the side, like, what the hell, man? That's my job.
Oh man.
At least when my little homunculi die, they make me chuckle every time. Like they die very
that, Bob,
sadly.
And send it to me.
Their dying sound is so obnoxious, though. Because Kristen, my wife, was playing a priest too, and I was, questing with her, and I would just hear like all the time.
Like, what's happening?
I've had in-game sounds turned off, so I've never heard it, and this is amazing. I need to turn them on and fight a priest now.
You do indeed.
Yes, you do. Well, so for Rogue, there's Honor Among Thieves, which is whenever a player in your party critically hits with a spell or ability, you gain a combo point. Cannot happen more than once every second. This looks okay. I don't know, though. Like, I don't think it's going to help. The next one, Cut to the Chase, though. Your Eviscerate and Envenom refreshes your Slice and Dice. Now, I like this because it's either or. The only problem is Eviscerate really sucks. And even if you're playing combat, you really don't use Eviscerate much. But this seems like something where you do like a 1 bubble Eviscerate or something. I don't know. But it seems a little weird for a combat spec. Like, I would have rather it refresh on Rupture too, maybe. But yeah.
Dude, this Honor Among Thieves looks amazing, though. Like, if you put a rogue in a party with like a feral druid and a hunter, like, you're gonna be getting combo points every second, basically.
We'll see. Like, okay, so maybe you would like with this, you would have a Eviscerate build, but an Envenom build, with Mutilate, you'd end up just like overlapping your. I guess
like you don't have enough spenders for him, or
you could throw in bleeds, and then maybe you could like do armor pen, but like when you do Venom, you put a debuff on or a buff on you that like makes your poisons hit more often for a few seconds, depending on the amount of combo points, and you'd be overlapping that quite often. But you just have to see like what other things you could throw in there, what other finishing moves you could throw in. But Eviscerate might be good if you could do it just constantly, but I just don't know. I'm not sure about this one yet. I do know Cut to the Chase will help a lot with like Slice and Dice, but I don't know. I'm not super excited about it. There is some other data mined ones like Unfair Advantage, which is whenever you dodge an attack, you gain an unfair advantage, striking back 100% of your main hand weapons damage. This cannot occur more than once per second. The cool thing about this is it would be it wouldn't be just the target you were on. So for a rogue tank, this would be amazing because basically once every second you're striking back at one of the mobs that are on you with 100% weapon damage. Like that could be huge. Could even be huge for like one-on-one PvP duels and also leveling up. Like if you can get this early on leveling up and you plan to just do quests solo or duo or something, it could be really good too. This was a talent in Wrath that was really awesome for working up. But I don't know. There's also Carnage. Your abilities deal 20% increased damage to targets afflicted by one of your bleed effects. Now it says one of your bleed effects, so this means that you'd have to be using either Rupture on the target or what's the one that does the bleed?
Garrote?
Strike. Something. No.
Saber Slash?
Saber Slash, yeah. So like you'd have to have like something like that, or Garrote would work too, but like it's just your bleed, so you couldn't take advantage. Like a Mutilate Rogue in Wrath would love it when they had another class that put bleeds on for them because they wouldn't have to do that, but they still get all the bonuses of this, you know, without doing a bleed that was less damage. So I don't know. I'm still a little worried about Rogue going into the next phase. But the poisons, though, you pointed out, like those could be pretty cool. They look like debuffs and stuff, and like buffs for everything, which could be really cool.
You want me to read through them really quick?
Holy shit. Oh my God, I didn't even see this. You told me about this. I meant to look it up when I guessed it on the pod with you. We never got to it. It's homunculi.
Kind of, yeah. You've in poison form.
What the fuck? Well, you could only do 2 of them though, but
yeah.
Oh,
well,
huge.
You might have more than one rogue. Yeah.
Huge. This could bring.
So I saw 3 poisons. I saw Sebaceous, Atrophic.
Yep, melee attack power reduced, Demo Shout. Yep, time between attacks, Thunderclap, and armor reduced, Sunder.
Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, Rogue poison.
Sorry. It's data mined. I can put it here in our chat here. Holy crap.
I mean, I'm looking at the data mined one. Which one is it?
It's on Rogue. We have poisons that could be just like doing those debuffs. Now, does kind of still suck though, not having poisons. I don't know. There's a lot for me to think about here, like really parse through, but that has a chance to get us in raids if we're using the proper poisons.
Yeah, I think those
so bad to say.
Those debuffs only last for 15 seconds, I think, but that could change again. It could last 30, a minute, whatever. And homunculi is what, like a 2-minute duration? Like once those debuffs are applied?
3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Homunculi lasts for 3 minutes and it's on a 3-minute cooldown.
Well, these are
they can have 100% uptime.
Yeah, these are 15 seconds, but 100% charge. It'd be just like a crippling poison or a wound poison. Like it would just keep applying and just putting it back to the full dur. The only time you lose it is if the rogue is not hitting the target for 15 seconds.
Like a phase transition, yeah.
Yeah.
So like when Aranicus, is that the last boss in Sunken Temple? When it goes into its dream mode and it comes back out, all the rogue poisons are going to fall off, but homunculi is going to stay on the boss.
Well, no. I mean, it's just like the last phase on the last boss in Nomer. I think, Mel, how do you do it with the homunculi to get them to go and actually hit the new boss that comes out each time? Do you go up and melee at once or something?
That's so freaking stupid. Yeah, I go up and melee at once. One of them stays. One of them runs back with me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck over there. And I have to run back over there.
You have to re-equip it. Like, you have to re-up it on that type of thing anyhow. So, but they're also there for 3 minutes and can die. Whereas my poisons can't die. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what I like about the poisons here is that one of the main concerns and problems I've had with homunculi is that they're very unpredictable. Mm-hmm. If you have, like, let's just say you have 5 mobs up. If you have, like, a cleave fight or a boss or something, with cleave, they're very unpredictable. Or when a boss is like respawning, despawning, or on like Mechaneer in Normergan, once again, also unpredictable. The poisons are way more reliable.
Or even Menagerie, right? Like a rogue could be like swapping targets every 5 seconds and keeping the uptime on all 3 of the ads there, besides the sheep, at all times, helping warriors cleave, helping anybody cleave, right?
Exactly.
I would so much rather use Palm. So anything you can do to not make me use Homunculi and Raid would be wonderful. Okay.
This is exciting. Now I understand why you were so excited to tell me about this, Go.
Yeah.
I'm glad I waited so you actually saw my actual excitement. Like, this is fucking cool.
You're like, oh my God.
And and even chat's just kind of pointing it out. I should have said that this could actually make the Shiv rune worthwhile, like where you could have all 3 of them and be keeping the uptime, because you would just make a macro to switch out offhand daggers and Shiv, and then your regular hits switch back to your regular damage. So you'd have to Shiv one of the poisons on every 15 seconds.
So I can't wait for
this brings up the skills ceiling of Rogue too, which is cool.
I want to see the phase 3 Bis Shiv dagger or sword, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's going to be a specific random weapon. Yeah.
It's going to be the one that gives you run speed.
We'll find it.
It's going to be the caster dagger. I'm calling it right now.
I'm waiting for the Simonize video. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Right? And the breakdown as well.
Oh my God.
Oh man, it's great. All right, well, anybody have any other runes they want to kind of hit on? I did see a data mine about somewhere I saw it about Shaman's Rockbiter weapon being nerfed into oblivion, basically.
Yeah, you need to use a shield now, I think, to get it right. Or is that something else?
I don't know. I just saw it's being really nerfed. I didn't see exactly.
It's a big nerf, but I think it's that you have to have a shield now, so you can't double dual wield anymore and have double Rockbiter. That's what I got away from it, at least. I don't play Horde, but that's what I understood.
Okay. Well, either way, just nerf him somehow. Just stop.
What do you think about Gladiator stance for warriors? Do you think that will help them be better tanks? I don't know anything about warriors.
I think it's going to help them kick the shit out of people in PvP. I don't know, but I don't know much about it. Yeah, supposedly it was in Legion and never came back again. That's something we'll have to ask Jake from Tree.
Based on sims that have been sent, even if you're using Gladiator stance and Sword and Board, you can sim 1.6k DPS in PvE. Damn. Which is crazy, by the way.
As a tank?
Yeah, Gladiator stance.
Yeah, but you wouldn't you wouldn't do it if you weren't a tank, right?
Yeah, no, probably most likely not.
Okay.
Unless there's some broken mechanics about it, but most likely not. No. But 1.6k is massive, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
think about regular BWL parses back in 2019. I had a 99 parse as a mage. I was doing 400 and something DPS in Blackwing Lair. We're doing 4 times that now.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But
it's power creep.
It looks like it's on the foot rune for warrior, and I'm seeing it's enraged regen, gladiator stance. It was just gladiator stance, right?
Yeah.
Intervene and rallying cry. So I don't know if there's any DPS foot rune right now as it is. So maybe there will be some sort of warrior DPS shield weaving.
Yeah, stancing / shield weaving, yeah.
Interesting that they show a new warrior rune that's on the boots. So it's not on a new
It was
item?
a rare one where they're adding it. I don't know if that was the only one, but it's definitely a rare one they're adding to a slot that's existing.
They did that in phase 2 with Shaman, I think a chest rune they gave them. So they called it like a bonus rune or something like that in the preview.
It sounds like a rune they wanted to add, but maybe ran out of time and they're just having to re-add it at a later phase or reevaluated some things and said, this class needs this.
Yeah.
Listen, they said everybody stopped playing Warrior and nobody's taking Warriors, so maybe we should give them a little more love.
I mean, they found their way into speed runs. I mean, Sars won. I think the best one he had three Warriors and a Feral. And almost nobody takes Warrior. Like, they take one Warrior, they take no Feral, basically, for most, like raids. So
in their world record, I think they had 2, right?
I don't know if it was 2 or 3. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I just looked at the tank DPS. Warrior is the lowest tank DPS in Nomer, and then it's Paladin above them, and then Rogue.
And then way up on the list, above Assassination Rogue, is Chamois Tank.
Yeah, yeah. Right, even with Balance Druid, pretty much.
Holy shit!
Listen,
But I mean,
that we
it
have a
changes
Chamois
all over the place. Yeah, I mean, Warriors were doing absurd like damage as tank last phase. It's just changing up quite a bit, which has actually been kind of exciting. My main is the worst melee DPS in the game right now, and I'm still having fun with him. You know, did an 8 rogue run. Like, guys, just have fun with it and just hope and pray to the Ugren and Tim gods that your class will be on top next phase. So you're saying there's a chance.
Last phase, though.
Oh, stupid. It was crazy.
Just Sunder spam and do like top DPS, like actually top DPS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in one of my 10s, I tanked as a warrior and was often the number 1 like damage. And then, but I mean, Chamois doing that right now. Like, we have one raid where we have a Chamois tank and he tops the DPS throughout the entire raid.
Yep, pretty much. So shaman tanks are the warrior tanks from phase 1.
Yep. Except they can hold aggro on everything.
They don't have to use a shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One last Balance Druid rune that I've got is Loon's Fires. It's on the bracers, and it says some of your abilities extend the duration of your damage and healing over time effects on the target. So currently it lists Starfire extends Moonfire by 6 seconds, Wrath extends Sunfire by 3 seconds, but I read too far into these tooltips and everything and dug into the effects, and I think that this might also affect Insect Swarm in phase 4.
Ooh.
So, and it would increase, I don't know, I couldn't find what spell would increase Insect Swarm, but we also got the preview where our 8-set tier set bonus is going to like double the duration of Insect Swarm, which is like 12 seconds baseline, I think. So that would already make it 24 seconds. So then if this Bracer rune also affects Insect Swarm and increases it another 9 seconds, 12 seconds, whatever it ends up being, then that'd be a long-ass Insect Swarm. Like, our dots as boomies are just going to last forever.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's going to be nice.
I don't know how I feel about that.
As long as I can get like a pandemic rune like Warlocks and these dots can crit, I'll be happy.
You'll be top DPS is what you're going to be.
Yeah, 3 critting dots would be insane.
Boomkins are feeling really good right now, man. I love Boomkin.
It's so much fun.
Hey there, Saul Bhutan. Thank you for the raid. Thank you so much. We don't usually do that on a show, but thank you so much for jumping in. I'm just going to go ahead and shout you out. SALUTBUTON. Follow her. She also guested on Go's podcast not too long ago, so give her a follow.
Close to 1K follows on Twitch. Let's help her out.
All right. Well, the next order of business is raid release schedule and lockouts in phase 3. Now, to let everybody know, this is a change going into SoD permanently. All raids are going to be 1 week lockout. I don't know if that actually pertains to Nomer or BFD for leveling sake. I don't think it does. But everything going forward, including ZG later on, Molten Core, everything is going to be a 1 week lockout. And they're going to up the drops, because of that, you're going to get more drops. But how do you guys feel about the 1 week raids?
It makes sense with them increasing the number to 20 people, right? Like coordinating.
I forgot to say that too.
twice a week.
Yeah, they're 20-man raids now. Yep. Sorry, I forgot.
I also feel like the phase almost felt twice as long because you were raiding like twice a week, right? So like it almost felt like you're like last week and you're like, actually no, it was 2 days ago. But it I don't know, mind played with you that it was like a longer phase because you were raiding so much more frequently. And the raids weren't that hard. So doing them twice a week, I think burned you out quicker, in my opinion.
Also, you spend twice as much consumes.
Yeah.
True.
Which is a good thing, because then I make more gold.
I mean, that's the whole thing. For everybody, it's different. You know, for everybody, there's pros and cons to all these things.
It's for us broke people. We're happy, you know?
Yeah. And raiding once per week, it's just like, it makes it more fun for me personally the less I raid, because you evaluate the time more. If I have to raid every 3 days, it becomes more of a chore than something that I look forward to. Plus, it's going to be easier for me now to cultivate a raiding culture and a guild when we have 1 day per week. So, like, let's just use Wednesday as an example. Then you recruit people that want to hang out on Wednesday evenings and just raid together. Because now it's just you raid every 3 days. We don't even have any set. We just raid on reset day, which keeps changing all the time.
So, Solheim, what we did this time round is I was like, all right, we're going to do our 2 raids. We're going to do Wednesday, Sunday, and Thursday, Monday. Those are our 2 raids. And then we'll figure it out when when there's a 4-day gap where we don't fall into our raid time, right? Well, the first thing that I found out was, oh my God, I'm spending 4 days of my 7-day week stressing out about filling a roster, doing all of this, and not getting to PvP, not getting to go just do fun things in the world with my friends. Like, so I switched it to where we did them both, back to back Wednesday and then Sundays, right? But like, it's still like 2 days a week, whereas I just think the one lockout a week just works out better, because there were times where we had to raid 2 days in a row because it fell into that spot where, we weren't in a lockout and we didn't want to leave our guys to go pug and stuff. And so it was just a big pain in the ass.
That could make Wednesday but couldn't make Sunday.
True,
right?
That too.
And then could make Sunday but couldn't make Wednesday. And so it just it limits you of getting a core raiding group that are players that you want to play with, and then feeling bad when you're like subbing in players that could only make it once a week instead of both raids a week for players that could make it both raids a week, but you want to include the player. Like, it just is a lot. And so I don't know. I love raiding once a week. I think Dizzy did bring up in chat that it does mean that we'll probably only get 8 or 9 Sunken Temple lockouts, which is interesting to think like how that'll impact it. I know people probably won't get all of their bits they're used to getting.
We'll see, though. I don't know that like.
True, I guess with the tokens too, right?
This could be.
They're increasing the rate of rewards too.
This could be a longer phase too, just because they're putting Nightmare in. They're putting, like, I'm assuming AV is going to come in at some point. I'm almost pretty sure that Molten Core is going to come in phase 5, mid phase 5. Almost certain of it. But like, I could be wrong.
Data mined Molten Core loot.
I don't think so. Would, see, Go. That's something when Rockman came on, he gave us a little insight in the data mine. He's like, guys, there's a ton of stuff that's encrypted that I can't see. Do you think they just encrypt some things and not encrypt other things? We're seeing what they want us to see. And that's just a fact. Like, they can encrypt everything if they want to. They don't. So I'm just saying, like, it's very possible Molten Core comes out mid phase 5, and phase 5 is like a 14-week thing, especially with Cata coming out too. We have to look at those dates and all of that. Like, it's possible this is going to be a much longer phase. Just throwing it out there.
I think the 7-day lockout is bullshit.
I know you're the only one I've heard that hates it. So tell us why. I love this.
All right, so I've got a couple bullet points here, and we've touched on a couple of them, but we're 2 hours into the show, so I've had a couple drinks at this point, so I might ramble here. But to me, it's going to be less runs on our main tune, which we kind of addressed. If it's only a 9-10 week lockout, we are only going to get to run. If you don't have ults, if you're not an ultaholic, you're only going to be able to do the raid maybe 10 times. Let's just say 10 times. And
would you have been upset if you could only do Nomer 10 times?
No.
I haven't even done Nomer 10 times. I've done it like 5.
Exactly.
I did BFD like 20 times though. So
would you have been upset if it was only 10?
To me, they're removing content. they're removing the accessibility to content. And they spent all this time on Sunken Temple. Why make it be accessible 50% less of the time?
Because it makes it more fun.
That's why I think it's going to be longer, man. I really do.
Speaking of it being more fun, let's speak to the pug crowd here. If you're pugging Nomer right now, and I've been in a pug, and we only got 4 out of 6. If it was a 3-day lockout, not a big deal. But if it's a 7-day lockout, all of a sudden, I'm only clearing 5-6 bosses in Sunken Temple. I have to wait a whole week until I can go back into Sunken Temple. I missed out on a lot more
you have
loot.
To make friends and get in a guild and group with people.
It also gives you 6 more days that you guys can try to meet up and keep progressing.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of right now, it's harder to do that because you only have 2 days to keep progressing.
Tell me one pug you've been in where it's fallen apart and you've gotten back together.
My first 2 pugs in BFD, we did that. We went back like BFD with our first 2 pugs. We actually failed, and we went back the next day. We got everyone back again, and the next day we scheduled to go back in, and we cleared the raid.
If I'm being honest, Swamp Phase 1 was like a shit ton of people none of us knew. Like, we knew all the content creators. All the content creators ran their own groups, like lots of them, right? Like, but we didn't know all the people. Like, the guild was open, like we allowed people to come in, by just signing up. And like, so it was basically a pug. And I remember, I remember now that Solheim's talking about that, it wasn't the beer league because I knew them, but it was like the pugs that I started with my real life friends who had come back, and there was like 4 of them, and it was me. So there's 5 other people. We did plan to come back the next night to do the rest of it. Like, we did do that.
And there's always going to be a couple people that don't end up coming back, and you have to try to pug a couple people to come into a half filled raid. That for sure. Like, I don't know. I just don't see that as being a huge barrier.
I'm talking about a trade chat pug. Like, you log on and there's somebody listing, hey, we're looking for 3 more DPS. 2
it is definitely
starting
different.
at 7 p.m.
That was basically my pugs in BFD because back in BFD, I ran my guild still. We were doing 5 raids per week in the guild, but I had 15 characters. So like, I was pugging, I was doing some like Twitch pugs as well, of course, but I was raiding on at least 4 characters outside of Twitch, where I just made a regular trade chat pug. And I always asked at the end, if we did fail, I asked if they wanted to come back the next night. And twice we did, and we cleared the raid. It was really fun.
I think it depends on how hard Sunken Temple is too, right?
Like, it really depends.
If Sunken Temple's really hard,
and how long.
Yeah,
that's going to be more challenging, and how long it is, right?
There's been a lot of people just being like, stop listening to the YouTubers. Like, I know we're all the content creators here, but like, there's a lot of them that are like, we want harder stuff. We want harder this, harder that. And like, me and like Simon Eyes, for instance, are always on the page of, no, don't make it harder. Like, people will find their own way to have harder goals. They'll do speed runs. They'll do parse runs. Let them do that. But let everybody participate and have a good time. Like, it's not mythic rating. If we wanted like extremely hard shit, we'd go to fucking retail. We're not retail. We're not going there. Give us fun.
All right. How about this one? There's going to be less big ticket items. So let's say that there's an epic sword off of the last boss, and only 8 of those are going to drop for the entire phase. 10 of them are going to drop for the entire phase, and that's on a shared loot system with other gear. So it felt like shit when we didn't get the caster staff in phase 1, and that was on a 3-day lockout. So these big ticket items that people are going to want to get because they're used to having so many chances to get them, we're not going to be able to have as many chances on that.
Yeah,
drop.
I think that's a good point, because some of those weapons are hard to get. Like, I still haven't gotten my Crowd Pummeler on my Druid, basically raiding twice a week, almost every week since it came out. So
doesn't it feel
I could see that being a problem.
That you've had to go through that twice as many times as you only did it once a week.
Twice the disappointment.
Well, half the time.
I'm used to Blizzard disappointing me. It's fine.
There's also
I have a very weird opinion on that, where I think that's a good thing.
I think so too.
That will make me validate and evaluate. Yeah, I will value basically the epics way more, because one of the reasons why, like, this is one of many, but it's one of the reasons why I play Classic over Retail, is that Retail is giving you welfare epics. Classic doesn't, but at the moment in SoD, it really does. Like, the epic from BFD, the epic staff, everyone in our main team and the alt team has that staff, or had it in phase 1. Right now, everyone in our main, we have all the loot we need from Nomer. Literally everything, including every epic and every weapon. Like, nobody needs anything anymore. I don't like being here. I want epics to feel epic. They currently don't.
Well, and even though, like, I mean, my warrior missed, like, my warrior was the third tune I worked up in phase 1. He missed like 4 lockouts of Nomer tops, and he didn't get the epic sword until my first I said Nomer, but I was talking BFD. My first BFD leveling in phase 2 was when I finally got the two-handed sword. And, like, I mean, it's okay to have that happen. Like, and also my druid didn't get it until the second to last lockout of phase 1. He didn't get the staff, but it looks like they're going to give more drops. And in addition, there's a lot more different side grade things too in different areas. You know, Nightmare, dungeon loot's been revamped quite a bit, and then on top of that, PvP, everything else, like
crafted gear,
yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but
I completely understand the point, though, like not having as many epic chances. I think people will feel bad about that, but personally, I know I'm weird on that, but I think it will just make me value the epics more.
Mm-hmm.
If not everyone has them, which I think would be lovely.
Well, then
to be honest, like,
when I got the epic sword on my warrior, it didn't really feel good. I was just like, okay, nice.
Yeah, now I've got it. Yeah, like everybody else, and it doesn't. I also feel like gear with the difficulty of raids that we've had has not been that necessary, right? Like, you go to get your bis, but really you're clearing it just fine.
Yeah, Nomer, literally there's not one in Rage Timer. There's no DPS checks ever. Like, it's why we could do it with 8 rogues. Like, 3 of the rogues were doing no damage on the last boss.
And, like, certain things get, easier the more gear you get, but it's not like you're not able to clear it without the gear.
Right.
And so making the gear a little bit more, selective, and not being able to be like, oh, I could use that for my off spec, because nobody else needs it because everybody else has got it. So now I got like 80,000 pieces of gear. I don't know. I just feel like that just makes it more irrelevant. But
so let me get this right. All of you guys like the 7-day lockout, and you also don't want them to increase the loot drops.
No, they are, but they already
I know they
are.
But you guys aren't. You guys don't like that.
Oh,
they're increasing
like
loot drops though, because it's going to 20 man too, right? Like, so you have to think of that too. Like, we're going from 10 man
increased
3 days to 20 man 7 days.
The way I read that is they're going to double it regardless, because it's going 20 man, and then also add a couple more. That's how I read that, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, but like, no matter what they do there, it fits my philosophy, because in order for them to keep the same loot, they would have to quadruple the drops, because we're going from 10 man to 20 man, so twice as many people, and we're going to have a 7-day lockout instead of 3.
Yeah.
So unless they quadruple the loot, I'm happy. But if they start quadrupling or quintupling the loot, then that's kind of bad, because then you get like 20 items per boss.
Right.
That's not for me.
You'd spend more time giving out loot at the end of your raid than you would actually raiding.
I would get a loot cancel then because I'm not handling that.
The worst is when I'm rolling off loot and like somebody wins. They're like, "Oh no, man, you can have it." I'm like, "Dude, guys, talk about that in tells. We're trying to get through the loot here. I'm giving it to you. You talk about it with them, and you guys figure it out. Like, you want the roll, you get it. Take it." It's just like we don't need to talk about this right here.
But to touch on the loot real quick, one of the things that this is a complaint I had in phase 1 and I still have it in phase 2, is stop giving us vendor strikes. Like, we have vendor epics. Like, when we get the needle, for example, what do people do with that? I have vended 4 needles.
I'm going to use it in raid tomorrow.
I have vended 4 of them.
Okay,
like,
guess
give us less vendor epics.
Guess what class I'm gonna use it on, and tell me if I'm dumb or I'm smart.
What paladin?
Hunter.
So okay, with the change that came in with the dual wield rune, that change normalizes all one-hand weapons to 2.4 speed. So it's still got that high DPS. It should be hitting at 2.4 speed, giving it those big hits. I'm gonna test it here tomorrow, but
I hope it's good for you, because that would further the one kind of sentiment I had, is that all loot is hunter loot.
Yep. Oh, God. I mean, it's crazy because the two
always has been.
Yeah, the two Bis fist weapons dropped, and I was like, also though, the dagger from the second boss dropped, and the needle, which I've only seen a use for like tanking like warriors, like San Medina tanks with it every week, and it's badass, right? But like that was all I could think of a use for it, and then I was like, wait a second, it doesn't matter if I'm using a dagger and a sword. It should be 2.4 speed, so this should work fucking just as good, if not better, because I have the 2 epics that have the higher DPS. This should work better than the 2 fist weapons. So I'm gonna find out. Although there's no stats on either of them, they have procs on them, but we'll just have to see how it works out.
So Bob, imagine you come up with a concept like this in phase 3, but it's on a 7-day lockout, and the people that need it for their main spec haven't gotten it yet because it's just not dropping. And phase 4 is announced. Sorry, Bob, you don't get to test this fun thing that you would have been able to do had Sunken Temple been on a 3-day lockout, and you had more chance to get that.
Yeah, but that's what you deal with everything in life. Like, I've never gotten to test having a what's it called? What's the one that changes you to be green when you go into Scarlet Monastery? It changes everything to...
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
From Nax Ramus.
Yeah, I've never got to do that because one dropped the entirety of our Nax runs, and we cleared early and cleared all the way through Classic. And yeah, Chad will probably help me with it. But...
It dropped from 4 horsemen, I think.
Yep.
Wise.
Yep. I still to this day kill myself for not just going ahead and just spending my DKP on it. But
I mean, I would love to test having Wind Fury and Gressel as a rogue, but I mean, it's just not going to happen, is it?
Right. A couple more points if I can, Bob.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'll try to make them quick. It's you guys that are clogging this up. Okay. No. All right. So less time to use as a level up raid from 50 to 60. So this could change. They could change it from a 7-day lockout down to a 3-day lockout once phase 4 opens up. But you might only be able to use this like 1 or 2 times, depending on how fast you level, to get up to level 60 as a leveled up raid. And I know people have enjoyed using Black Fathom Deeps as a level up raid to get to level 40. I'm sure Nomer's going to be the same way to get up to 50. So I'm just worried that it's not going to have the longevity that phase 1 raid and phase 2 raid is going to have.
I'll be honest, man. I think 40 to 50 is going to be a lot easier. I think it would have been a lot easier even without the 50% bonus. Like, I really think there's going to be less discrepancy between who you can bring in to dungeon cleave groups. Like, you know, there was a lot of discrepancy with if you were doing armory or you were doing this, or you're doing that, but I don't think it's going to be as bad here. And then 50 to 60, I think to 55 is going to be rough. But if everybody remembers, like even in hardcore, 55 to 60 was pretty freaking fast. Like it's just you run into all these big quests later on, at least on Alliance side. I guess I don't know about Horde side, but I mean, I remember getting 58 to 60 in a 5-hour session just doing all the quests in Eastern Plaguelands. Like I don't think it's going to be as much of a slog, especially with the 50% bonus. I think it's going to be really good. Anybody else?
I'm on the other side there, where I kind of agree with Go there that I would love to see them either tune it down to a 3-day lockout, and it could be a good compromise to double the experience values to like give us way more experience from the raid. But I think I would love to do it on a 3-day lockout when it's a level up raid, because as an Alliance player, I like having the option to skip other forms of leveling. So in SoD, playing on a PvP server, questing is not really for me because I get killed 24/7 if I'm doing questing in the open world. So the options for me is either do the level up raid or farm dungeons. I don't really like farming dungeons. I do it because I kind of have to. I don't like it.
It's
and when
like
it comes
the
to
worst
questing,
experience ever, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be really chill if you have like a group of friends and you're discording while doing it, but it's mind-numbing.
That's the only time it's fun, because you're talking about other shit.
Kind of fun for like 5 runs. And then after like 5 runs, then you're still like, okay, I really like you, but like, just stop talking. Like, this is so horrible.
and for questing as well, especially like level 50 plus, I'm really on the top on the aspect where I don't mind questing. I think it's fun, but I like having the option to skip the certain zones that I don't like. So I could, for example, skip Fellwood or Winterspring and just do a Sunken Temple raid instead. Or at least do like 1 or 2 raids. And if it's a 3-day cooldown, I can do 2 raids. So it just helps me, especially someone with alts, level up more alts. So I think for leveling up raid, it would be great to have it on a 3-day lockout, maybe.
Do you think we'll get that, though? The ability to skip zones, though? I feel like we will get that with the 50%.
Yeah, you technically do.
Right? So it's kind of like, you can be like, no, I don't want to do this. I'll go do 1 dungeon and then I'll move on to the next zone, right? And you can skip those really annoying quests.
I think both factions kind of have a streamlined 50 to 60 experience. It's only 40 to 50. That's kind of bad, especially for the Alliance, because we have to farm like 3 levels. So it was really needed in phase 3 to get the bonus. We'll see if we still have it in phase 4. I would really assume we do, in which case you can definitely skip a zone if you really want to.
Well, that's so true, though. Like, yeah, I forget. Like, I don't know what Horde's going to be like, but everybody always says it's better as far as quest wise. But yeah, that 45 to like, or like, no, actually, like 38 to 48 is really rough on the Alliance side.
Yeah.
So
I tend to farm like 4 full levels of mobs.
You guys think you're going to be able to skip zones, but Blizzard's going to put the runes in those zones. That
they probably are.
So you're going to be forced to go there.
So true.
I had another bullet point here was it's going to make missing that first lockout of phase 3 feel a lot worse than it did missing it in phase 1 and phase 2, because you're missing 1 lockout of potentially 10 lockouts.
Could be 10%. Yeah, that's a really good point.
But then again, the first lockout is 7 days instead of like the first lockout of phase 3 was in the first 3 days.
No, it's 5 days. It's 5 days. Yeah, Thursday to Tuesday.
Or 6 for EU.
Or if you ever have to miss the day of the raid, right? Like, let's say your guild raids on Wednesdays, something comes up on Wednesday, you can't do it, miss the lockout, that will feel bad too.
Yeah, but then it's kind of a guild problem, wouldn't it be?
You just got a GD. Oh, they banned those. Never mind.
or you can do a trade chat pug.
Yeah.
And you get locked out after the first boss.
Yeah.
Dude, I love how Simon Eyes has been doing those trade chat pugs constantly, like on his rogues. And you just see, no matter how good you are, it doesn't matter if you're in a pug with people that have no freaking clue.
Yeah. You can be like as good as you want, but you have to have like a decent group or people that knows how to do things.
Yep. There is no carry in World of Warcraft.
It's at least very difficult.
Yeah.
All right. The last point is one that's just pure speculation, as if all those other previous points weren't. But there's going to be less data for the devs to reference on how these runes work for when we get to phase 4 at level 60, because people are going to be doing the raid less. So there's going to be less like min-maxing because you can't do the raid as many times. So people aren't going to find those niche things that they've been able to find.
I'll go with those niche things people have been able to find, like Spell Power Hunter and stuff like that. But the devs, come on, guys. The devs aren't looking into anything super, super intense on how things are working. They're like, oh, shit. They're just checking Rockman's Wowhead article of like damage. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea what the devs do.
It's less opportunity to see potential balancing changes quicker.
Fair. There is a little bit more of an opportunity, though, for them to be theory crafting outside of raiding, right? Like,
yeah, I think that's where the most of the changes come from anyway. It's like people do one raid, then they look at logs and performance, and they start theory crafting. I think most of changes happens outside the raid.
Yeah, it's on Sims a lot too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thinking, though. I don't really know, because for me, I play a mage, and I have a friend in my guild who tells me what to do. So
I'm not a theory crafter.
Yeah, see, I'm the same way. I play rogue, and this friend in my guild, Simonize, tells me what to do.
Yeah.
And I do really well because of it.
So I just, my friend is better than me, so I just follow his command.
Yep, that's basically what I do. Yeah. Yep, exactly. And then
I've done for my whole WoW career.
Hunter, I've been listening to Maui, at least for PvP, and he is not. I've got a weird PvP spec, like, and it works good. And I'm not even sure exactly all the reasons why. I know some of them, but like, it's good. It's really good. But
Bob, thanks for letting me get all that off my chest. I just came up with one compromise that we can do. Maybe we can see eye to eye on this one. It's a 7-day lockout for the first half of the phase, and then it turns to a 3-day lockout. So then that would roll in nicely to having a 3-day lockout for the level up raid.
I wouldn't mind that.
Compromise. I wouldn't mind that at all, but I don't see it happening, but I wouldn't mind.
I don't see them doing it, but
the only way I'm cool with that, and this isn't going to happen either because they'd have to change the code, would be if it's a 3.5-day lockout. So that means it would actually reset midday, middle of the week, and then you would always be able to have 2 days that are your raid times and never have to deal with an extra raid or anything. I would be down with that. And I've suggested that like back in stage 1. I think that would be a good compromise, but I don't think they can make that fundamental change to the way things work.
I guess they did allude to phase 4. I thought the conversation was done. I'm sorry, Bob. But Nixia, a 7-day lockout. ZG AQ20 is going to be a 7-day lockout too. Like all of that.
Wait, really?
All of it.
All of that has rubbed me the wrong way, and that's why I've dove deep into this. Like, idea.
Good pickup. I've completely skipped over that. Holy.
Yeah. So that's why I'm taking it this serious. You know, I'm really serious on this right now for phase 3 because I'm trying to prevent future catastrophe in phase 4.
It's the season of dads, man. I think for the majority of people, I think it's going to be good. For people like content creators and people that are crazy, like, I don't think it's the best for them, but people like iPlay might actually be able to participate in everything for the rest of SoD. Whereas if it was the other way, like, I don't think he would.
The people that are crazy are going to level alts anyway and do like 5 raids per week. So
yeah.
That's what I'm saying is, don't you think this almost makes it more alt friendly for those harder core gamers?
Way more alt friendly. I will definitely find my alts a run, whereas sometimes I skip, like, 3rd and 4th character runs.
Speaking of alt friendly, I have something I've been thinking about and like talking to my guild about, and I'll just air this with you guys as well in chat. Alt friendliness, it's really good right now when it comes to leveling, like the leveling speed and getting the 100%.
I know right where you're going.
It's really good, but the runes.
Yep.
It's not alt friendly at all.
Hard.
They're really bad. And if you think about it in phase 2, they have streamlined many of the runes to be the same quests.
Mhm.
Why can't I do the Dark Riders once and get the runes for all my characters?
We've been talking about
And
this a bit.
What do you think about that? Would it be good or bad?
I would love that.
Scotty J had an idea to where you could put the runes on the Durotar supply company, and they could be bind on account, and you could send them to your alts.
Yes, exactly.
Or you could still do them the regular way if you wanted to. But he did say level gate them, though.
That was not his idea, though. His idea was not send them to your alts. It was you can either do them the regular way, or you can purchase them for a certain price. It doesn't have to be too
exactly
high.
What I've been saying.
But you can purchase them from the supply vendor, but they're level gated. But so you can't go purchase a intended level 35 rune at level 2.
Yeah, exactly.
But you could go try to do it at level 2.
That was his case, but
it's not like heirlooms.
I
It's
think
not like
you should
something you get on one character and you can give it to every other character. I don't love that because I do think that there is
just add a level requirement, and you have to have done it once. So you would have to do the Dark Riders once on your account to like get that feature on the vendor, and then bind on account to send to your alts and have it be like 10 to 15 gold per rune. Because then it's a sizable amount, but you won't go broke, and you will have to like think about if you want to pay the gold or if you want to do it the normal way.
I would make 2 more alts if they did that.
If it's 1 gold, that's way too cheap, and then everyone is just gonna opt to skip the content.
So here's the thing, though, is that like I think being alt friendly is one thing, but I also think being new player friendly is needed as well, right? Because you have somebody who wants to jump into SoD for phase 3. And they're thinking about leveling and trying to get all these runes that are really hard to get, that you have to have a group to get. If they don't have an established like friend group before they start, they're just not going to do it, right? And so that's why I think if you put them on the vendor and you make them, even if they're 5 gold on the vendor, or like the phase 1 ones are like 2 gold, the phase 2 ones are 5 gold, and you just can't get them until a certain level, and maybe you have to, do something to be able to get them, but I think you have to make those more accessible for people starting up new, as well as people wanting to level alts.
Yeah, that's a good point. I always think about the alt people, but don't think about the people that...
Yeah, the new player experience should also be kind of probably improved.
Yeah, like we have a friend that plays with us all the time, and he just bought a house, and like he's having to do all kinds of shit to it. So he's been unable to play as much for a few weeks, whereas he was able to play a bunch more before that. Like, it would be good for those types of people to have something. Yeah, I mean, you could do both ways. Right? Like, make it more accessible for everybody. It's a seasonal server. Make it so I can buy it and gift a rune to somebody.
Well, and maybe it's just certain runes. Like maybe it's just some of the more difficult runes or some of the runes that require a group. Maybe it's not all the runes, right? Maybe some of the runes you still have to get on your own to avoid just like, botting your way up through dungeons, right? Like some of the runes like that you can go kill quest mobs and stuff for, like those you still have to get on your own. Like there's no easy path to get those, but potentially some of the ones that require a group or things like that, they add to the vendor.
Or even something as when the phase ends, right? Like maybe during the phase, the active runes, you still have
during
to go
the
do
current
the quest,
phase, you wouldn't be able to buy them. Yeah.
Right. But once the phase ends, it would be nice if you could obtain them in a more streamlined way. Like, what if you could go back to BFD and the bosses drop the runes for phase 1, right? Or Nomer will drop the runes for phase 2.
Yes,
where you have to still put some effort, but it will be so much easier.
I like that.
Cool idea. I really like that. It adds the replayability as well of the old raid. And then you're doing phase 1 content for phase 1 runes and have like a chance to get them.
I like that a lot.
You're leveling and you're doing something fun, maybe getting some gear and your runes, so it feels like you're progressing rather than having to completely sidetrack to go do this one rune quest that takes forever, right?
Thinking about it now, if Blizzard doesn't do that, they're dumb. Literally, this has to happen.
There you go, Blizzard. Free idea for you.
That's a cool idea. I like that. I like that a lot.
It keeps that content more relevant too. Yeah.
In order to get that rune to drop in the first place, everybody in the raid needs the sleeping bag buff.
Oh no.
Snuggle puddle.
Yeah, you can't get traded the rune unless you have the buff when the boss dies. But I
like getting the sleeping buff too. Even I'm level 40, I just like seeing the coffee buff in the right corner.
I'd be happy if they put this on the class vendor or the class trainer, and you can go up there and just buy it from your class trainer, not even lock it behind a rep. And there's a cat in front of the camera.
Yep. I was going to pre-warn.
Okay. All right. Well, I gotta move us on. Because we don't have a ton of time left, but I want to hit on some of these things. I'm going to skip over some of them too, though. But the first thing I want to talk about is dual spec is coming.
Oh yeah,
and and it's data mined. Well, it's not data mined. Like you see it right there. It's supposedly going to be 50 gold. I think 50 gold is perfect. I think it's awesome. I think it's not too much. I think it's not too little. Although I do think they need to reduce the price of the 75 gold for the trinket swap. Like 75 gold would be worth it if you could have an extra trinket that did a different thing, like for like dual specking, right? Like that would be worth it. Every time you want to switch it, paying 75 gold, silly. But I like 50 gold. What do you guys feel?
I think
it's awesome. Yeah, I think it's awesome because almost everyone is going to have at least a PvE and a PvP spec. Maybe some people have 2 PvE specs or 2 PvP, but having access to 2 makes things so much easier. Let's say I want to just finish the raid and I want to go join some BGs. I don't have to go back to the city, respec, change all my gear, just to start doing that new activity, right?
Yep. And it changes all your buttons too. So like every time I respec and re-rune, I always have to like move everything around. Like now, that'll be less of a pain in the ass too.
Mm-hmm.
That is super nice.
I think a lot of people are seeing the 50 gold right now, and they might be like Mel, and they're like, I have no gold right now. Like 50 gold, that's a lot of gold. Like I'm not going to have that gold.
I have Bob.
Yeah.
But okay, so Baben, who was the shaman that just bought the house, who I was talking about, he didn't have gold either. I got him to come quest with me one night for 2 hours. It was like maybe 3 hours in Stranglethorn Vale, green quests. We made 30 gold just straight on quests, and then he made another, like 20 to 30 gold on the shit that you loot, like. Gold, you can make gold. You just have to play the game, guys.
So, Bob, let me piggyback off of that. Thank you for the segue. So, I think that they should add the extra gold from the quest from 40 to 50, like they just did with the experience boost in phase 2.
Well, but so also
you're making more gold.
Don't forget
that journey.
That you're only going to have to raid and get consumes for 1 day a week instead of 2 days a week. So this is going to help.
So they shouldn't give the extra gold for the quest. Yeah, right. Yep. Nerf the quest gold. Never mind. Take it out. Don't do it.
I agree. Take it away.
But I think 50 gold is going to be easy to get, and I love it. I love the dual spec. It should have came in phase 1. That's a whole
same. I agree. Yes. It should have just been free immediately, phase 1, right off the bat.
It should not have been free. It should have been 50 gold. No.
50 gold. It just should have been
50 gold in phase 1 when they still had GDKPs, right? Like,
yeah,
exactly.
And I feel like every phase gets easier to make gold because the rewards from quests, what you get from mobs, everything gets bigger, right? So 50 gold in phase 3 is probably not it's gonna feel like 5 or 10 gold in phase 1.
Well, and also it's
guys, I've been questing.
vanilla.
I have 110 gold right now.
That's crazy, actually. But it's also vanilla, and one of the coolest things about vanilla is there's so many lower level things. Like, for instance, Swift Thistle is going to be expensive for the entirety of the expansion. You get it from Briarthorn and Mage Weave Herbalism, or not Mage Weave, Mage Royal. So you literally get it from the lowest thing, but it can be one of the most expensive things per item on the auction house. This is the cool thing about Classic WoW, which was not cool about TBC. Like everything changed. Same with Wrath. Everything changed. Whereas like there's a ton of areas for people to spread out and find their own farming niche, which is niche. Sorry, don't crucify me like you crucified a grid. Niche.
I'm going to take a shot every time you pronounce that word different, just like Nomer with Scotty.
Another cool thing about seasonal discovery, for example, is the waylaid supply system, increasing demand for even like lower materials as well.
Yep.
I did a test here the other day, farming herbalism and mining in Elven Forest. Now you do like, for example, copper and also tin, mostly copper though. It's copper in Elven Forest, and they're using copper bars to make, for example, the copper short swords and the copper pants that are used in waylaid supplies. And they're selling for anywhere between, you can check the prices on your servers, but they're between 2 and 5 silver per ore usually. And you also have earthroot spawning if you're farming on the sides around Elven Forest, and they're using strength potions or strength elixirs used in phase 2. I made 30 gold in 1 hour in Elven Forest.
Yep.
Obviously only mount, but Elven Forest.
And that's what's so beautiful about Classic WoW is that there's it's something they really should have taken into TBC and Wrath to make the older world stuff still worth it. And it spreads people out. You can find your own spot. Like it's the coolest thing about Classic WoW. Or it's one of the coolest things I think about Classic WoW is the fact that there's so many things you could farm that, you know, we need all of these things, these lower level things at higher level. And I think that's cool.
For sure.
Speaking
and the waylaid supplies are great, because it opens up like so many ways for you to farm. Like you can go farm different mobs. Like the turtles come to mind, either in Swamp of Sorrows or Tanaris, where the turtle meat is valuable. If you get the shell, it's like 5 gold right off the bat, right there. And then you can skin him too. So super valuable mobs that you can go farm. And that's just one example, right? Like you can do it with a bunch of other ones.
And with the waylaid supplies, if they continue on the track record of having it give you so much gold like it is in phase 2, if it doubles and you're getting 24 gold per waylay supply turn in at level 50, then you turn in 2 waylaid supplies, bada bing, bada boom, you got your dual spec right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, guys, you can make gold. You just have to play the game. And honestly, Solheim right here, we'll have his link in the description. He has a shit ton of ways for you to make gold, and so does No Hit Jerome. So does so many YouTubers. Like Go probably even has some. Like they're just boomy ways, you know.
If Boomy can do AOE, then I have gold like guides. Yeah. So Wrath of Lich King, I had like 2 or 3 gold making videos, but not SoD.
Even like iPlay does, fishing makes a ton of gold, guys. You just have to know where to go, and that information is all out there. If you don't have 50 gold, I think it's crazy. And you know, I hope to God that they actually reduce the cost of the epic mount. This is a seasonal server, guys. Seasonal server.
The key to fishing
should go down.
Yeah.
I will say the key to fishing to make gold is you gotta find a good show that you want to binge that you can put on the side. That is the key.
Yep. And
right now I'm going through Akira Toriyama's Legacy, so I'm trying to rewatch Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and GT. So I have so much material to go through. There's plenty of fishing to do.
And you can have some fun PvP. You can have some fun PvP during fishing too. Like if you're on a PvP server. But yeah. All right, well, okay, so we basically already talked about the Blood Moon and stuff earlier on with the voicemails. So let's go. Do we want to hit the profession updates? I'd rather talk about the other stuff because we don't have a ton of time left. Let's just talk about Nightmare Incursions. What do you guys think about these? This is a PvE thing.
Can you explain these to me? I don't know exactly what they are.
I'm still not sure.
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah.
Okay.
The biggest thing we're not sure on, and this could be so cool or it could be so bad, but I was watching a video with good morning, evening, or afternoon. What's his name? Oh my gosh. Dang it. I love him.
I know who you're talking about. I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah, he's got the beard. He's never been on the shows.
It's Cargo.
Cargo, yes. So he was talking about how, so we don't know if we know it's going to be an instance, but we don't know if it's going to be an instance like another zone where you can be there with people who aren't in your party. We don't know if it's going to split you off or not. And he's Kago, yeah. He's like worried on PvP servers, whereas I'm like on PvP servers, I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. I'm going in with a group of 5, and we are gonna fuck shit up in there. It's gonna be just like we did in Stranglethorn Vale last night. Like, that sounds cool as shit to me. But like, they talked about like how it could be like solo player stuff in there, some of it, or group player. Like, we literally don't know anything about it, but I'm just curious what you guys think it might be. Or also, someone in my chat told me the other day, they're like, well, what if all 4 portals are in there and you can traverse the world via the nightmare like dungeon? You could go in this portal, and then you come out of the portal on the other side of the world. All right, so I think I gave you guys enough to talk about there.
I feel like the likelihood of it being a PvP event, I don't know, I go back and forth because they said it's a PvE event, right? But then they also have PvP rewards for the rep, right?
Yeah.
So that's where like I stumble. Because didn't they also say in the like presentation, didn't they also say something about like, we heard you about getting PvE gear from PvP or PvP gear from PvE, right?
Hold on. I don't think it's an event. An event would be something that runs on a time schedule or at a certain time. I think you could go in there at any time. It's just a PvE area.
That's what it sounds like, at least. Yeah, it doesn't look that there's a time gating or anything. It just says the portals are up in 4 zones, and you can go access them whenever you're ready.
But it says during a nightmare incursion, players will be able to enter one of the 4.
Say during the incursion, yeah.
Well, that's a Wowhead article, though, right?
Yeah, I wonder if there's a timer to it.
Is that just Wowhead's interpretation of what was presented, or was that actually from the presentation?
Listen,
I think that was from the presentation, at least. I don't know if it's paraphrased or something.
Yeah.
But what I'm picturing is you either go solo or you go with a group. You access the portal. If you do, it basically puts your party in it, and it might give you a timer, right? Like, you have the next 30 minutes to go farm, go do whatever you need to. And in those 30 minutes, you have to get whatever it is. Then you come out and turn in the rep or turn in the items.
I mean, based on the definition of an incursion, I would say it's on like it's a time thing, either happening every 2 hours, 4 hours, or something like that, or just suddenly happening or spawning. It's an invasion, sudden, or like an attack. So you're defending against like an attack.
Mm-hmm.
I would bet it's something like Legion Invasions if anyone played those.
Yeah,
that would be my guess. I could see that
too. Yeah.
As long as I play on PvP servers, as long as I don't click on a portal and before my character loads in, I'm dead from PvP, then okay, I'll accept some PvP in the zone, but not where I'm zoning into. There better be a little bubble.
I didn't even think about portal camping.
Yeah, there better be an immunity like bubble there where there's nothing that can hit you or something.
And I wonder if you'll be with the other faction, right? Or if it's going to be faction independent, because this seems like a much more PvE oriented event, right? Like, hey, we've given you guys a couple of PvP events for this phase. We're going to focus on the PvE event, which will continue, I guess, till the end of SoD.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I wonder if the Nightmare Incursion is going to carry over to Phase 4, like the STV event did from Phase 2 to Phase 3. So that
it says, okay, here, hold on. This is from Blizzard. Okay, just to clear this up. It says it's an all-new outdoor PvE event. And then it says players will cross into the Emerald Nightmare through these mysterious portals in 4 locations around the world. Content available to players who are leveling up as well as max level characters as they unravel the storyline. So I wonder if it's like just like an epic like storyline in this like
PvE
event.
It can't be like you can't have it level up and PvP. Now that I'm thinking about it, like you can't have level 20, 25s going in there and level 50s are going in there too for the same event. And 50s
unless
are just
it's
smashing on them.
Unless it's one of those like weirdly instanced, you know how they did
like
in Wrath where like you like did a quest and then you were in like a different like zone of the world, right?
Yeah. A zone of
like, and I'm not sure I love that.
Inception,
I'm not sure I love that.
That's what it's sounding like to me. The fact that you have to take a portal and takes you to another zone, it sounds like a different instance where there's either a limited amount of people that can be in there with you, or maybe just one of the factions. I don't know what they'll do with PvP, yeah. But it doesn't sound like they want to orient this for PvP.
Or there's different like levels of it, right? Like if you enter at level 25, your quest line is this. And if you enter at level 30, your quest line is this. But if you're at 25 and you enter with a level 30, like you don't see each other. And that feels kind of weird.
Yeah, like should you be able to do this event as a 25 and a 50?
It says you can, but I don't think you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
I would hope so, because that would be cool, right? If you have lower level friends or your friend has an alt and you can just take him in there with you and kind of help him farm, help him level up. And it's also useful for you at max level. I think that would be ideal, right? At least for a PvE event.
I think so too, but I just don't see, I don't know. I mean, I'm curious, but I feel like I'm a little nervous that this is like an instanced questing zone, right? Where you like unlock different levels, unlock different layers of it, where if you're on a different layer than somebody else, then you can't see them.
It almost feels like a daily quest hub, kind of. Like
I really hope it isn't.
Yeah, and then
I really hope it isn't.
I wouldn't mind that.
I hate dailies.
I hate them, but it's a love-hate relationship. If it's like a bombing quest, like in TBC and Ogrila, I don't really care for those.
There's still so much to do in the world that you don't need dailies right now. Like, don't give me something that I feel like I have to log into for a chore. You know what I mean? Like,
dailies give gold.
I hate dailies until we go to Cataclysm and start doing the Molten Front dailies. I love those.
Wait a minute. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I know about the Nightmare inclusions. They didn't give much information.
Yeah, but like Bob was saying, it does give PvP gear. So it's like the 6-set PvP gear, like pre-gear from your rated gear or your ranked gear.
It says
you get the PvP. I thought you got the PvP set from the ranks, like
there's
rank
2
5
separate
and 7.
sets. Yeah, there's a 6 set from ranks, and there's a 6 set from the Nightmare Incursions. And the Nightmare Incursion set bonus for the 3 set is stamina, which is the same as the PvP gear, and there's stamina on like the pieces as well. So it's PvP geared like set bonuses. And
are they both about equal in power, or is one better than the other?
Oh, the ranked PvP gear is better. So this is just like your how do you even say that? Pre-PvP ranked gear set.
It's your
like if you're
your pre-piss.
Your
pre-piss.
Yeah,
it's literally what it is. Your pre-piss.
So
pre-PvP
kind of cool for PvEers that kind of enjoy PvP, right? That they can like get something from PvP that's not the best for PvP, but they can get something that can be semi-competitive in PvP.
So at least we don't get stomped in Warzone Gulch or STV by everyone else.
The problem is though, is they're going to allow the PvP tokens to be turned in from STV. So if you want to, you can just get, 120 silver worth of like STV PvP tokens, and then also get 18 of each War Song and Arathi Basin, and bada bing bada boom. Week 1, you're rank 7. So it's weird. Like I wish they hadn't. I wish they wouldn't allow those to be used, but we could just trade them back in for some other currency or something. Gold.
I think it's going to be chaos on day one of launch. There's going to be some people that are turning in their pre-quest. There's going to be some people dungeon spamming. And there's going to be another group doing the nightmare incursion, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, can you level there? Can you level?
Sounds like it.
It says you can go in. Yes, it says you can get experience and reputation.
Honestly, it might be one of the best places to level because you're gonna be getting good gear.
Actually,
the mobs might be, good XP.
And you're working on your end game gear as well while you're leveling. So you're like working towards end game while leveling. I love that.
It'd be cool if it was just like an entirely different quest hub, right? Like, and you just kind of worked your way through, and it was just like a different storyline with like a cooler, like, I don't know. That'd be cool to me. But I like.
They do seem like they're playing with that, like the void people and like the dark figure that keeps appearing. It seems like they're kind of hinting at there's something there that they want to develop.
I don't know.
Because phase 1, we had to go meet that dark figure and get the shard to get the void touch gloves, right?
She popped up again in the next quest line.
Yeah, phase 2 with one of the quests, you have to go kill demons until she appears again and gives you the page or whatever is the crystal.
Listen, I love questing, but I don't actually know what I'm doing.
You don't like lore.
Within all the quests. I don't. I don't actually know that. That's news to me. But yeah, that'd be cool. It's kind of like a different kind of storyline going down a different lane here.
What if they lock runes behind the Nightmare Incursion event and it forces players to do the event? Is that a good thing, or should you be able to get your runes without having to do this event?
It depends on what the event is.
I mean,
the event is fun. People are not going to complain about that. If the event sucks, the people are going to be like, get me out of here.
I mean, they've been forcing people to do the STV event. Like, there's no better bow for a melee hunter than the bow that procs the 50 strength, right?
It's not forcing them. No, it's not forcing hunters to do it. There's a second bis.
But you pretty much know there's going to be one rune coming from these incursions. I would be very surprised if not. It's just like... They wanted to experience the content. Would make sense if you ask me. Just don't lock it behind doing 100 runs or like 100 farm it for like a long time. Right. It's going to be the same as SM. People, you were never forced to do SM either, but most classes get something really good from there. So you probably really wanted to do SM to get that whatever the quality of life was for your class. You never had to.
So if they put gladiator stance in this event, I'm totally cool with it, and then leave the other runes outside.
Yeah.
And I don't even think we've data mined or seen any books like we had last time.
No, I looked for leaflets because I'm trying to figure out everything I can for Druid, and I haven't seen a leaflet pop up yet. But I'm expecting Tuesday. There's going to be more data mines before launch on Thursday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm rechecking everything, trying to find out more information.
They have to be careful how many they put in, right? Like they did do some talent changes or some different things to classes this time. So like, I don't think books and things like that we should expect every phase.
Yeah, we should.
But
they gave it to us once. They got to give it to us again.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem with giving anybody. It's real easy to give. It's real hard to take away.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here, we're going to move on to...
Bobby, we need to have a talk about this World of Warcraft Classic. Do I look like I know what a WoW token is?
All right. So this is the last thing we're going to talk about. We've basically hit time. But sorry if I skipped over anything you guys wanted to talk about, but the last thing I want to talk about is number 2 in the segment 3 discussions, the teasers for the level 60 endgame. And the first thing on the docket is weapon skill. Now, this is something we asked for. I don't know if it was me who first came up with it or someone on the show. I have no clue. But we were asking for ways to have quests to change racials. And this is something that they're going to do. You're going to be able to get different weapon skills. But yeah, like you're not going to be able to get all the racials, but there is like stuff like priest, like, priest in Classic WoW, for anybody that doesn't know, every different like race of priests, like human, God, I'm blanking on all the priests, undead, dwarf. Like dwarf, all of them have different things, and everybody on Alliance side had to be a dwarf because that gives you fear reward, right? Well, these things are going to be, you're going to be able to unlock them and switch them around. The only thing they don't have on this list is things like basically Horde's going to be strong because Troll and both Orc have really good racials. You're not going to be able to get those, but the weapon skill is something that was huge for a lot of people, and you're going to be able to just basically switch to what you need at the time. What do you guys think of this?
Contrary to popular belief, I was a human priest in Classic.
There was a lot of them,
I loved my human priest, and my guild had 3 human priests because we refused to be.
And we were always trying to recruit dwarfs.
We're horrible.
That's hilarious. Well, this might be a new question, but I understand weapon skill is super important. You want to have it maxed out, but what exactly is it giving you? Is it extra damage, extra hit chance?
So it's like if your weapon skill is 300, you get like 305.
Yeah.
If you're
let me try
a certain rate or something, right?
Let me try to explain this. This is not going to be the best explanation you can get. If you want to understand it, you're going to have to look up glancing blows. Okay, so weapon skill translates into also plus hit at like +5 weapon skill gives you also +3 hit at max level 60. However,
if you're fighting a mob that is at your level and you're at max weapon skill and you add, let's say, +5.
+5 is 3% hit. But it does something even more important. There's a thing in Classic WoW called glancing blows. Glancing blows start out, if you have a glancing blow and you're at, say, 300, like level 60, you're at 300 of your weapon skill. Your glancing blow is going to take 40% of the damage off of that blow. Now, you can add as much hit as you want. Your glancing blows are still going to be 40% less damage. Now, add weapon skill in. You'll never be able to not have glancing blows, but weapon skill +5, all of a sudden your glancing blows are only 20% less damage rather than 40% less damage. And then at the cap at level 60, going against mobs 3 levels higher than you, I believe is 8 total like skill over top. And that reduces glancing blows to, I believe, around 10%. I could be off on the percentiles, but glancing blows happen a lot. So giving yourself 20 to 30% more damage on those glancing blows is huge. And no amount of hit does that. Even though weapon skill does give you plus hit, plus hit does not give you decreased loss on glancing blows. Hopefully I made sense there.
I think you did, and this is the first time I'm hearing of glancing blows. So
it's really complicated.
Yeah, I appreciate the explanation, but sounds like glancing blows is just they happen organically as you're attacking with your character. You have no control, but there's like a percentage of your attacks that are a glancing blow, and essentially they make you hit for less.
Yep.
And if you have more weapon skill, the amount of times you hit a glancing blow is less. Therefore, your DPS does increase. You're dealing more damage on average.
It's one of the biggest DPS increases. Like, it's absolutely absurd.
You're dealing a lot more damage. You're hitting way more as well, which also translates to more damage. It's just absolutely huge.
Yeah, it's
got it. Okay, so it's huge. It's a huge increase. You do definitely want to work on your weapon skill.
Huge, and that's why it's been so cool. Also, with them putting out items like the gloves to give plus to to fist weapons, like the rogue set bonus gives plus to daggers. But it's a little weird because we're also still only 2 levels higher doing the raids we're doing now instead of 3 levels higher. So the calculations are kind of off. But I do want to give one caveat, guys. This does not, okay, in PvP, weapon skill will give you plus hit, but there's no glancing blows in PvP. So like you don't have to worry about glancing blows in PvP. It's not a thing. So just heads up on that.
So this change is a buff to melee, and melee was already ahead on the damage meters in classic vanilla.
No. This change is a buff to melee on Horde.
Just Horde? It's
basically.
Not
I mean, on Alliance.
He's right.
If we get axe skill, but historically in Classic WoW, swords are really good. So like human, we usually go humans for melee. Now humans have like, sure, we still have reputation gains. Big whoop, and we have spirits, yay! And then you have orcs that have like blood fury or blood rage or whatever it's called, and you have trolls with berserk. Well, and they can now have sword skill as well.
Solheim, and I think they might have just left it out. Like if they did the priest racial thing, I think you might be able to change those racials too. Like, and that's going to be a huge thing because
that's what we hope. Yeah, that's what I hope. Because if we can't, everyone in my guild is molding. Everyone on my server is molding as well, and we're just losing. Like our hero line is going further back on a daily basis.
Yep.
And we're all swapping to the Horde as well.
Yeah, and we want to keep these awesome like 50-50 servers. Like just do it with all of them, man. Like all of the really good ones.
I also made a video on this recently, and people in the comments told me to just learn to live with it. So I'm going to shut up and learn to live with it. Yeah. Yes. I'm not going to complain anymore. I'm just going to learn to live with this. It's fine.
YouTube comments. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
They should.
That is so funny.
They should do this with druids as well, because I would not mind playing an alliance druid if I had war stomp. But back to the point about the melees getting buffed. If anytime I see a melee getting a potential buff, doesn't matter if it's horde or alliance or both, I'm looking for the spell power buff, the caster buff. So where's the caster buff in this? We have a healer buff. We have a tank buff potentially. We have a melee DPS buff.
But here's the thing: is there was no caster imbalance across races, right? Like this is more of like a factual.
There's trolls have berserk as their racial, which increases their cast speed. Yeah, it's like a 2-3 minute cooldown for some haste. Yeah, and
that's the only one. We don't react to weapon skill, so like. I hope they just left everything else out, because the only thing they talked about was weapon skill and priest racials. And the priest racials go into the Horde as well, gives them another advantage in PvP, where we had Fair Ward, whereas they had, for example, Will of the Forsaken. Now they would have a undead priest, would have Fair Ward and Will of the Forsaken, as an example. So who's going to win in a dwarf priest versus undead priest 1 versus 1?
As a undead priest now, that's fine for me, but
yeah.
Telling it like it is, ain't that the truth?
Basically, we should learn to live with it, and you're happy. Yes,
you should learn to live with that, Solheim, because I will be very good.
Yeah. I got it.
Yeah.
Oh my days.
That's so funny. Yeah, well, I mean, it's cool that they're looking into this, and they have a lot of time now to take these suggestions. Like, just being able to get all the different ones is a good call. Like, it's a good call for both sides.
I think that was part of the reason they teased it right now, is because they want to hear some of the like comments, concerns, like, you know, how the crowd's going in this. I think the only reason to tease this right now is to make people either say this is horrible and we're all going to go Horde because of this or something, or to hear people give suggestions. So I think that's cool. We've seen him do it time and time again, right?
That's actually a really good point. Yeah.
So don't
really good move by Blizzard as well.
Just yet.
I mean, yeah, like right at the start of that preview thing, Clay said this is a really fun thing because we, along with the community, have been making SoD. Like the community, all of you listening at home, writing into us, helping us talk about the different things. Like, we're making it together, you know, and they're not just listening to content creators. Like, you know, if you're not on Twitter, you should get on, because Grand is just like, I mean, it's open source right now. You can make any suggestion you want, and like they're coming in, guys. Like, we're getting an opportunity to help shape the game. It's a fun opportunity.
It is pretty cool, and honestly, like, just looking at SoD and its progress and how popular it is, it almost makes me think if moving forward, they almost want to plan on doing this on a cyclical timeline, right? Like, this year will be SoD the first season. Next year we'll have SoD season 2, SoD season 3. It'll almost be like a virtual amusement ride that lasts a year, right? And then people that want to jump on the ride for that year could be like, oh yeah, I'll do a WoW season this year and then try it out. And it's it makes you relive that magic, right? Of, oh, we're all level 1 and leveling together, and it's kind of like the start of a new journey, which could be genius if it works out, right? Almost like a 1-year ride every time.
I feel like it's the only way that you keep it fresh and you avoid the inflation, right? Like, I know everybody wants like Classic Plus and everything like that, but you do inevitably get to a point where it's less accessible for new players to come in and join, right? And I think by having seasons, especially seasons that are this like different and this like fun and things like that, I do feel like if you look at private servers, like a big population of private servers, they just reset and they redo the same thing, like adding in all of these other aspects to it. And I'm not saying that we don't get a Classic Plus or whatnot, but I do feel like the resetting of seasons is almost more enticing at this point.
Yeah, because look at a WoW Classic right now. I mean, it was amazing when they finally re-released it, but how many people are still playing WoW Classic at this point and raiding Molten Core still? Most of them have, I think, moved into Wrath of the Lich King, now Cataclysm or SoD, because of that reason, right? Like, we accomplished what we wanted in Classic. We're at max level. We have everything we want to need. Why would we be going back there every time, right? We want to do it again.
Well, and even like thinking about right now in Wrath, like, I thought I was going to be so excited. I've got 102 mounts. I've got like all the cool mounts, the Raptor, the Tony the Tiger, Mim's Head. I've got like, you know, I don't have Nightmare or whatever, but I've got like everything, and I don't give a shit. Like, I want to show it off at the time. Like, I'd love to have the Sabretooth right now, but I deem like the honor and the rep from Arathi Basin to be more important. So I'm doing that. But like, I don't care about what I have in Wrath now. Like, I have so much shit in Wrath, I don't even know what I have. I can't even show it off. Like, I have 102 mounts. I can only mount one of them at a fucking time. Like, this is the problem with what I feel. Is why I hate, like, I don't like retail. It's a weird, what did Yip call it? An Asian mall or something. Like, it's just like shit everywhere. Like, and I don't care about all of it. Like, yeah, I earned it, but earning it in the moment and showing it off in the moment is the fun thing. Not like jumping on and taking 2 hours to show you all the cool shit I have on Wrath, right? Like, no one gives a shit.
For people that continue to play, things don't seem as bloated to them, right? Because incremental changes make it so that it seems like it's just seamless, right?
No, I was going on your thing about like, the reason I wouldn't have wanted to restart with old me is because I'd lose all the stuff I got. But now I'm realizing that shit doesn't matter. I don't care. Mm-hmm. That was what I was agreeing with you.
Well, to speak to the classic era population, there is 17,500 logs from the last week. So there's a good population. That's a solid server size right there. And that's just logs that were recorded. Who knows how many raids weren't even logged.
There's a ton of people that still PvP on Era too, with all their best gear that love it.
Era servers, there's some gaming going on there, and it's been out since 2019. It's a 5-year server.
Yeah, it's been quite a bit of time. Yeah,
buying anything there sucks ass though.
And here's the thing, though, it's not progressing, right? So people that want to play that content are playing that content, and it's not as intimidating to come in because there's an end game, right? And like where you have to go, and it's not like it's going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger and
that is
longer
true too.
And longer and longer, right?
That is true.
So people that love that game, they're playing that game because they love that game, and that's great. People that want something a little bit new but don't want to jump into even Cata, right? Like you jump into Cata and it's like you've missed out on these first 3 expansions and you're trying to catch up and play catch up, and the further on you go, the harder that's going to be. Regardless of what game it is. Like,
well, I'm curious, what would be the comparison with SoD? Like, how many weekly logs are you getting in SoD?
310,000 right now.
Okay, so it is significantly more.
A bit bigger, yeah.
Is that 310,000 though?
And then Wrath, I think, is like 200 some, right?
But we raid twice a week in SoD, right?
Wrath 166.
Okay.
Yeah, Wrath is very like healthy right now.
It's not bad.
Yeah, but it's all GDKPs, right? Like probably. And also, what I'm imagining
too is for those people in Classic still, the 17,000 people still logging. Those are people that started probably in 2019 or close to it, and did the whole journey, got to max level and have everything. So for them it's fun, right? Like, hey, I got everything I want here. Let me go play my max level character. But I don't know how many people are starting a new character in Classic at this point, right? Because there's nobody running Wailing Caverns, or maybe some people, right? I'm making some assumptions here. Or the earlier raids. It's gotta be hard to find a group to go do those at this point, I imagine.
You know what? I actually have some insider info on that, because like just today I logged on to Classic Era to record some pre-stuff for Phase 3 and do some research. I got hit up by 2 different raid teams who wanted to have me in their raid. just because it was a really wholesome server. It was like a PvE server in the EU side, and literally I logged on. I played for about 2 hours. I got 2 whispers from people asking me if I wanted to raid with them. Just super wholesome people.
But he was talking about like Wailing Caverns, though.
I think there's a lot of boosts.
That's something different, yeah.
There's a lot of boosts available for the lower level dungeons.
Yeah, but fair enough. Yeah, you might not have to even go through that anymore.
Yeah, but like, I was on my level 60 feral, and I was offered joining Molten Core and Blackwing Lair at like 8 p.m. I was just like,
that is cool.
Okay.
The gold's out of hand, though. The gold inflation after 5 years on that Era server is absolutely ludicrous.
It was not GDKPs though, those 2 raids.
Yeah, but I'm just saying to buy stuff. But at the same time, collecting materials, you make a lot of gold fast because they're all selling for crazy. You're just like, it's just crazy seeing like what it costs. And even in like the hardcore servers that haven't been around that long, the gold inflation is crazy, but it was bots. Like, and maybe the reason we're not dealing with that right now is because they banned GDKPs. Oh, don't shoot me. Don't shoot me.
What would you think of, yeah, let's just smooth past that. But what would you think, and I'm sorry, I know we're out of time, so we need to wrap it up, but what do you think if they did something like you get to 60, you don't necessarily lose your 60 when the new season starts, but like it resets like all your runes or something like that. And it's like, now we're doing new runes. And so you have to kind of go back through the content and get the new runes to play the new season, right? But you kind of still have your player. I guess you'd still get gold inflation and stuff like that, so maybe it wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah. I think you'd have to reset it every year and just keep it in a cycle.
I hope we get Discovery Era.
There you go.
Not Classic Era, but Discovery Era, and that way we can preserve these characters and not lose the runes, because like we can't go to Classic Era right now. First of all, we have the runes we're not supposed to have, but we also have gear we're not supposed to have. So like for these to go to Classic Era, it's going to be a really difficult project for Blizzard. So either they have to get deleted altogether, or it has to be a Discovery Era.
Dude, you could have like the Discovery era, and then every season, different characters come to the Discovery era, and people have different runes.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
That would be cool, though. Kind of like you see what's a season 1 character and what's a season 2 character, and they're different.
So
that would be really cool.
Oh no,
that would be crazy. It'd be like, oh, dude, this dude's an OG.
Yeah, this is an OG.
We're in SoD 10, but dude, Living Flame was only in SoD season 1 and season 3.
Right?
Holy crap!
And what if you could get all the new runes every season you were in SoD era, right? So like you go to SoD era season 1 after season 1, and you can get all the new runes every season, but you can't get any previous runes. So if you get into SoD era at season 5, you can only get 5 and beyond, right?
Yes, please.
I like it.
That could be interesting. Yeah,
sounds interesting. Sounds Well, I don't. This has been a crazy good episode, guys. But I do have to end it. We're gonna have to end it here. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You can follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. If you want to send us an email, it's wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to join the Discord, warcraftreloaded.com/Discord. If you'd like to get Rested XP, warcraftreloaded.com/Rested XP, or just go to warcraftreloaded.com and see everything Patreon, how you can help us out, every place that you can help us. Thank you so much. I think that's all I got. All right, go. Where can we find you?
On YouTube at youtube.com/@ClassicGho, ClassicGho. All of your Balanced Druid Classic information, theory crafting that you're interested in. Cataclysm beta, I'm streaming that a couple nights a week. Wrath of the Lich King, I'm still on there a little bit too. SoD, just not Classic Era, I guess. Sorry, Classic Era. I did that
but
once.
if you had runes in Classic Era,
so if you're into birds, tuki, then
if you're into
go get go. Whoa, okay, well, all right.
You went halfway. I went full send. I'm not scared. And then also on Scotty J's YouTube and Kick channels, you can find me on the podcast called Cubicle Chat. It is usually Wednesdays for Season of Discovery and usually Saturdays for Cataclysm. So it just depends.
Follow around Scotty an hour short podcast.
Really short, condensed podcast. We move from topic to topic really quick. You have to have a really short attention span if you're tuning into those shows.
It's
wonderful. Man. I play. Sorry, go ahead.
I got to say one more thing again, Bob. I said it at the start of the show. Congrats on 200 episodes of Warcraft Reloaded.
Thank you. I play. Where can we find you?
I'm a little offended that I haven't been gratzed yet by Go. I'm just going to throw that out there. You know,
it's joint effort.
Mel and
that is
Bob.
Impressive though. 200 episodes is a long time to be podcasting, and it's an awesome milestone. So congrats for sure. Where you can find me primarily next week, you'll find me in Azeroth playing a lot of the new phase coming out. If you want to tweet at me or X at me, I don't know how you say it anymore.
Yeah.
You can find me at iplaigame. You spell that IPLAI games. So yeah, tweet at me there. Let me know your opinions.
Did we get you a little excited to maybe start another podcast up?
I will say this is getting the creative juices flowing. This is nice being here.
Good deal. And Solheim, where can we find you?
You can find me at Solheim Gaming on YouTube, and you can also find me at Twitch on Solheim YT. I'm also going to be doing a 24 to 48 hour stream when Phase 3 comes out next week. And that's basically
real casual.
That's basically it, yeah. And I want to say a massive thank you for having me as a guest on the 200th episode. Been absolutely great.
Yeah, thank you for coming. It was great.
Loved it.
Great. Mel, where can we find you?
You really can't. You can find me in game. When people whisper me in game, it's very exciting. So I do love that. I'm Melarina, but somebody stole my name, so it's I don't know.
Melarina.
Yeah, MELLORINA. Yep.
It's 2 L's on your druid, 1 L on your priest.
Okay. Thanks, Bob.
I have a weird memory, man. I'm sorry. I remember everything. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm really good at this. But yeah, that's about it. Or on this podcast or on Bob's stream.
Yep. All right. And you can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can find me on Twitch at BlazzinBob. Let's get out of here, guys. Bye.
Bye, all.
Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.